Chapter 21-24. Shing, shing, shing. Sword hums sounded out as swords giving off black and blood-red sword light gave off immense power as they flew towards the escaping sword gods, piercing through their bodies. Large amounts of black and blood-red aura immediately flowed out from the ground, flooding into their bodies and causing them to go through changes. Zhao Fu was still in his killing sword mode, and he had just defeated many sword gods. The dozens of sword gods that he had defeated were the final batch, which meant that Zhao Fu had completed his quest. Now he just had to wait and convert those sword gods. When that time came, the Emperor Killing Sword World's power would be 10 or so times more terrifying than it was now. However, the sword gods were very powerful and had divinity, so they would not be able to completely convert them in a short period of time. Now that he had completed his quest, Zhao Fu prepared to take the Emperor Killing Sword and leave. The people outside the sword world did not know what had happened, and they found that even the sword gods could not enter the sword world. This meant that something big had happened inside. In fact, it was possible that the Armageddon sword had already been obtained by someone else. Or else, why would the sword world suddenly be unable to enter? At that moment, a young man came to the side of the sword world. He looked valiant and extraordinary, and he wore black clothes and had a gore at his waist. He had a long saber covered with countless bandages on his back, and he did not give off any aura. The many godly spirits gathered here basically ignored this incredibly weak person. However, the expressions of the many experts on the viewing platforms became somewhat serious because they felt that this young man was very terrifying. The young man gave a trace of smile and looked at the sword world with interest as he muttered to himself in shock. Celestial murdering sword intent? Following this, the young man thought about it and gave a smile as he took off the long saber covered with countless bandages. He raised it with one hand, and the bandages around it slowly unraveled. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as an incredibly terrifying power exploded out. A platinum-colored light shot into the sky, causing the ground and space around it to continuously collapse as the heavens and earth started to change. This sudden explosion of terrifying aura gave everyone a big fright, and they looked at the young man in shock. The young man raised a long saber that was wrapped in countless bandages. The bandages slowly unraveled, revealing a platinum-long saber. As for the platinum-colored saber, it was 3 feet long and 3 fingers wide. There were circles engraved on the blade, and there was a diamond larger than a lychee at the joint between the hilt and the blade, emitting a resplendent light. As soon as the saber was revealed, a world-splitting saber intent spread out like an apocalyptic flood, instantly drowning out the world. A divine might that could crush all living things also spread out. The thousands of godly spirits here felt suffocated, and their bodies trembled in fear as a hint of despair welled up in their hearts. At the same time, some of the deities quickly recognized the origin of the blade and exclaimed in shock, "This is the heaven and earth godly blade. This is one of the supreme divine weapons of our god race. It has disappeared for God knows how many years, but it has actually appeared here. I'm so excited. I'm actually lucky enough to see such a terrifying saber. This is the supreme weapon of our god race. The heaven and earth godly saber is extremely famous in our god world. Even now, I know of the legends that it left behind, but today is the first time I've seen it. I heard that this heaven and earth godly saber was brought to the celestial world long ago, so no one has ever seen it before. How did it appear in the god world? Could that legend be false? I've heard of that before, but the key is, how did this supreme weapon appear in the hands of that young man? Who is that young man? Why haven't I seen him before? You guys don't have to think about it. He's definitely not from our god world. There's a high chance that he's from the half-celestial world, or even the even more terrifying celestial world. Celestial world? That's a little scary. Even those powerful beings would be afraid of the celestial world, let alone me. The experts on the viewing platform weren't too shocked because they knew that the young man wasn't simple. His bloodline was at least a holy bloodline, and he even had a bit of celestial chi. Even though it was easy to say that he had a bit of celestial chi, The celestial chi that he was emitting was real celestial chi, not just weakened celestial chi. Under normal circumstances, only a half celestial would be able to do that. This young man was definitely not a half celestial, but he should have come from a place that contained a large amount of celestial chi, causing his body to have celestial chi as well. That place could possibly be the half celestial world, or it could possibly be the celestial world. That was why the experts revealed such serious expressions when they saw the young man. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to make them act like that. Finally, there was the matter regarding the heaven and earth godly saber. The heaven and earth godly saber was the first saber in the God world. It was born when the God world was created, and it contained an endless amount of heaven and earth power. This type of heaven and earth power was extremely terrifying. It had already transcended the laws of the world, and it wasn't bound by anything. It was a type of power from the source of the world, and it was also in supreme level power. For the heaven and earth godly saber to possess such a level of supreme level power, one could imagine how terrifying this saber was. It had a few famous masters in history, and every single one of them was an extremely terrifying existence. Among them was an unparalleled genius who started a war against the Pantheon Mirror back then. The most famous thing about it was that a person used it to consecutively kill 6 celestial level existences. Celestials were undoubtedly the most terrifying existence in the world, and the heaven and earth godly saber was able to kill 6 celestials. It was unimaginable how terrifying this heaven and earth godly saber was, and one could only feel endless fear. Of course, the person who used it to kill 6 celestials was also extremely terrifying, and he was extremely famous in the God world. It was rumored that he was also the one who brought the heaven and earth godly saber into the celestial world, and he was also the rumored last master of the heaven and earth godly saber. But now, this saber had appeared on a young man's body. One didn't even need to think to know the identity of this young man, and he was definitely extremely noble and terrifying. Now, no one knew what would happen in the competition of the gods. Even such a terrifying existence had appeared, and no one could be sure who the master of the gods would be this time. The intensity of this competition of the gods would probably be incomparably tragic. Even the supreme geniuses would be defeated in the end. Countless people were looking forward to what would happen. They belonged to a group of spectators, and the more exciting it was, the better. The more intense the battle, the more excited they would be. They didn't dare to participate. Chapter 21-25. Finally, the gazes turned back to the young man. The young man raised the heaven and earth divine blade, and the blade gave off an intense white gold light, dyeing the entire world a white gold color. The wind and clouds continuously changed, and a world-splitting aura spread out from the young man's body. Boom! A shocking explosion rang out as the young man slashed down. A white gold light containing the power to slash apart all things slashed towards the sword world like a bolt of lightning. Nothing could block it. Bang! A massive and muffled sound rang out as the terrifying sword world was slashed apart. Countless black and blood-red auras surged out like a flood, instantly inundating everything. Everyone saw a person appear within the sword world. His eyes gave off a dense blood-red light, and he wore a black cloak. He held an ancient sword, and his body gave off strands of black and blood-red aura. He gave off a frenzied, killing intent and sword intent that could destroy everything. The space around him was unable to withstand it and continuously twisted and collapsed. There were many different swords stabbed into the ground around him, and there were dozens of corpses at his feet. Blood flowed all over the ground. That person was like a murderous demon and had a formless power that caused people to feel terror and despair. Seeing this scene, the godly spirits were all shocked. They realized that the corpses on the ground were the corpses of sword gods. The sword in that person's hand was actually the World Destroyer sword. Everyone quickly understood what had happened. The owner of the World Annihilation sword had set up a trap for sword gods to enter, and then he had killed them. Looking at the dozens of corpses, they realized that this was the outcome of the 1,000 sword gods who had entered the sword world. Thinking about that, they felt a lingering fear. Facing such a murderous demon, there was a high chance that they would die inside. Fortunately, it was someone else who had forcefully slashed open the sword world. Otherwise, they would not have known what had happened. Everyone was also curious about the identity of this person who had the World Annihilation Sword. To be able to have such a terrifying World Annihilation Sword, his background should be extraordinary. Also, what was his goal in killing so many sword gods? Now that the space around Zhao Fu had collapsed and the aura that Zhao Fu gave off was very different from before, no one realized who Zhao Fu was. The young man held a silver-white saber and looked at Zhao Fu. The smile on his face gradually faded and was replaced with a serious expression. Zhao Fu's blood-red eyes gave off traces of killing intent as he looked at the young man. His Emperor Killing Sword world had been slashed apart by the person in front of him, causing his source energy to be damaged and would take some time to recover. Because of this, Zhao Fu's expression was quite serious. He understood that the young man's power was incredibly terrifying and was even more terrifying than those with Emperor stars. Moreover, his gaze seemed quite familiar, and after thinking about it, Zhao Fu realized that this was the same gaze that had looked at him when he had entered the secret realm. Zhao, in the young man's eyes, and in a red Zhao in earth, an emperor's eyes and in earth, and God emperor's God. And he, waves of terrifying chi waves surged out in all directions. The godly spirits' faces became pale, and they hurriedly retreated. What happened next was not something they could participate in. Who are you? The young man looked at Zhao Fu seriously and felt quite shocked. How had such a terrifying person appeared in the godly world? The young man felt an immense threat from this person's body. This person was definitely his greatest enemy. Zhao Fu looked at the young man with his blood-red eyes and asked, "And who are you?" Zhao Fu was also quite shocked that such a powerful person had suddenly appeared, and he was even more powerful than those with Emperor stars. This competition was far more difficult than he had expected. The young man lightly laughed and replied, "It's best if you don't know who I am, or else it'll bring about a massive disaster." Zhao Fu said coldly, "Apologies, I won't reveal my identity so easily." The young man felt quite startled and smiled as he said, "All right, let's not talk about it for now. There will definitely be a battle between us, but I hope it won't be now. This time, I'm the one who destroyed your sword world. I can give you anything you want as compensation." In actuality, Zhao Fu did not want to fight with the young man right now, because the competition was only at its second stage. If he fought with the young man now, he might be heavily injured, and he would not be able to participate in the next stage. He would not be able to become the ruler of the gods. As for the compensation, Zhao Fu did not care too much, so he said, "No need." Boom. Now that he understood that there would not be a battle, Zhao Fu was not interested in staying here. After saying that, he turned into a blood-red ray of light and shot into the sky, disappearing. The young man looked in the direction that Zhao Fu had left and lightly laughed. Countless bandages once again wrapped around the saber, and the terrifying aura quickly weakened before disappearing. The young man once again sheathed the saber on his back and also turned into a ray of light and disappeared. Only after the two terrifying people left did the thousands of godly spirits let out a sigh of relief. Just who were those two people who had been scared in a cold sweat? They were simply too terrifying. News about this quickly spread, and everyone was quite shocked. Some people did not even believe that this was true because it was simply too terrifying. Zhao Fu hid all of his aura and disappeared to a place where there was no one around, and he re-entered the Emperor Killing Sword world. The Emperor Killing Sword world was now repairing the hole that had been created, and it was recovering quite quickly. It would most likely be completely repaired soon. The reason that Zhao Fu had come here was because he had some things to take care of, and he had been interrupted by that young man. Looking at the dozens of sword god corpses on the ground, Zhao Fu stretched out a hand, and a wave of energy covered their bodies. Zhao Fu brought these people's bodies to the side of the pools. This was the Killing Sword Pool, the core of the Emperor Killing Sword world, and it contained the most powerful killing sword power. There were already many people immersed in it. These were all sword gods from before, and only here could they quickly transform. Zhao Fu stood where he was and sensed that the sword god's divinity was currently devouring the killing sword pool's power, and its attributes were quickly changing. If the divinity continued to absorb the killing sword power, it would eventually become a killing sword divinity. This caused Zhao Fu to smile. A godly spirit with a killing sword divinity was incredibly terrifying, and this naturally made Zhao Fu quite happy. Chapter 21-26. After dealing with this, Zhao Fu changed into a cloak and returned to where Hua Ling was. Zhao Fu had told her to wait here. Seeing that Zhao Fu had returned, Hua Ling asked, "Are you done? Also, was the ripple from before caused by you?" Before this, Hua Ling had been waiting here for Zhao Fu. Suddenly, she felt a terrifying killing aura surge over like a flood. Her body felt cold, and she felt a trace of fear in her heart. She was wondering what had happened and why there was such a terrifying aura, but she realized that it actually belonged to Zhao Fu. Hua Ling revealed a surprised expression. How come she didn't know that Zhao Fu had such a terrifying killing power? However, this aura did indeed belong to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu lightly laughed, and Hua Ling rolled her eyes at Zhao Fu. Just how much more terrifying power does your body have? I can't understand you. Zhao Fu smiled. I can't even describe how much power my body has. Let's continue to obtain Chief God's power together. Hua Ling lightly nodded. Following this, the two of them returned to the entrance of the Sword God. There were countless people gathered here, and some were undergoing experiments, wanting to fly into the Sword God's legacy ground. Most of them were discussing what had happened, and all of them looked very excited. Hey, you have no idea what happened just now. The scene of those two peerless experts appearing was simply too terrifying. I feel that both of them are even stronger than ordinary peerless geniuses. It's a pity that they didn't fight. Otherwise, I would have been able to see a world-shaking battle. I didn't see it. When I rushed over, they were long gone. Are they really that terrifying? I don't really believe it. You still don't believe it? That terrifying fluctuation just now was caused by that World Annihilation Sword. And that World Annihilation Sword already has a master, and has even killed over 1,000 sword gods. Furthermore, the other person wielding the Heaven and Earth Divine Blade is still not terrifying? That's right. With the sudden appearance of these two terrifying people, I can imagine how intense this competition of the gods will be. Even Miel Lu and Tian, you may not be able to become the master of the gods. I'm curious just who those two people are. They seem to have suddenly appeared, and I've never heard of them before. They're definitely not from the Heaven Awakened world. Hearing these people's words, Hua Ling looked at Zhao Fu and wanted to know all about Zhao Fu. She felt that Zhao Fu was hiding too much. Zhao Fu's expression did not change as he flew forward with Hua Ling. The others did not know that Zhao Fu was the person who held the Armageddon sword. Clang, clang, clang. After coming to the massive sword's domain in the air, a massive wave of sword chi flowed out, forming small swords that shot towards Zhao Fu like a torrential storm, seeming as if they could not be blocked at all. Because the attacks were too powerful, many people were unable to block them and were injured, making it impossible for them to enter the Sword God's legacy land. However, Zhao Fu did not seem to mind much, and a wave of pure sword intent exploded out from his body, covering Zhao Fu's surroundings. It formed a formless barrier that gave off an incredibly sharp sword energy. Bang! 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 The sword chi that shot over immediately dissipated after entering the 10-meter radius around Zhao Fu. The countless ferocious sword chi was unable to harm Zhao Fu at all. Zhao Fu's expression did not change, and he brought Hua Ling and flew into the ancient sword. The scene in front of them blurred, and Zhao Fu and Hua Ling came to a place with verdant mountains and clear waters. The scenery here was quite beautiful, and there were many different swords floating in the sky. These swords were not corporeal and were illusory images that gave off shocking sword energy. A 1,000-meter tall stone statue also appeared in front of Zhao Fu. It was a cold-looking young man who wore long robes and had a sharp sword at his waist, giving off an incredibly powerful sword aura. There were already many people in the Sword God's Legacy land, and there were more than 10 of them who were undergoing the final trial. If they all obtained the Sword God's Legacy power, Zhao Fu would not have a chance anymore. Zhao Fu needed to gather the legacy power of 24 sword gods, and because it would be of great help to Zhao Fu charged over with a powerful aura. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the 1,000-meter-tall stone statue gave off a massive aura. Countless sword lights shot out from its body, forming swords of light that were 3 meters long. Swish! 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 The sword lights gave off shocking power as they shot towards Zhao Fu, giving off ferocious auras. However, Zhao Fu did not show any intentions of stopping. A massive sword intent flowed out from his body and condensed around Zhao Fu, forming a massive, formless sword that gave off an incredibly sharp aura. Bang! 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 Explosions sounded out as the swords of light were instantly destroyed by the formless sword. Shockwaves spread out, forming a gale. These massive sounds gave everyone a big fright. Everyone turned to look and saw a massive, formless sword suddenly shoot over, slashing through the air and landing to the side with a massive aura. Everyone felt quite shocked as they looked at Zhao Fu. It was the first time they had seen someone pass the first trial so quickly. Boom! At that moment, the stone statue once again gave off a massive aura, and a powerful might weighed down on Zhao Fu's body, seeming to be able to crush a mountain. However, Zhao Fu acted as if nothing had happened and quickly walked forwards. Seeing this, some people started to feel quite worried. There were only 10 legacies in total, and some people had already obtained a few. If someone else obtained a legacy, even if they passed the trial, they would not receive any legacy power. Everyone unleashed their full strength, resisting the might from the stone statue as they walked forwards with great difficulty. As they got closer and closer to the stone statue, the might became more and more terrifying. Under this might, everyone's expressions became quite unsightly, and large beads of sweat appeared on their bodies. Their legs felt as if they were bound by iron. However, when everyone saw that Zhao Fu did not seem to be under much pressure and easily walked in front of the stone statue, their expressions became dim. The difference between them and Zhao Fu was simply too great, and no matter how hard they worked, it was useless. They were still not as good as Zhao Fu, which dealt a heavy blow to their hearts. At that moment, the stone statue slowly lowered its head and looked at Zhao Fu. It was expressionless, but countless rays of sword light shot out from its forehead. A powerful sword energy spread out, causing the surrounding temperature to drop significantly. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a silver light containing a massive sword aura shot out and landed on Zhao Fu's body. A powerful ancient sword god's power entered Zhao Fu's body. Chapter 21-27. Sensing this massive wave of sword energy enter his body, Zhao Fu immediately sensed the shocking changes in the killing sword power. This massive wave of sword energy was indeed very useful. A trace of a smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he closed his eyes and absorbed this wave of energy. Boom! 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 Explosions sounded out as powerful rays of light shot out from the stone statue's forehead, bringing with them a massive sword aura as they landed on Zhao Fu's body. The ancient sword god's power continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body. Under this massive wave of sword energy, Zhao Fu's entire body was filled with sword energy, and his body even started to turn into a sword. Zhao Fu's killing sword power madly devoured this wave of sword energy and continuously became more and more powerful, becoming more and more terrifying. As Zhao Fu's killing sword intent became more and more powerful, the Emperor Killing Sword World also went through great changes, and the Emperor Killing Sword World's power quickly became stronger. The gash that had been split open was completely healed in a short while. What was shocking was that the sword gods who were immersed in killing were quickly changing and the killing sword power continuously flowed into their bodies at a rate that was dozens of times faster than before. Those were 1,000 sword gods, and they contained massive amounts of sword energy. As they continuously changed and fused with the Emperor Killing Sword world, the Emperor Killing Sword world's surface area quickly increased. Everyone watched in shock as Zhao Fu obtained 5 of the Sword God's Legacy's power. They could only hope that Zhao Fu would not obtain another legacy land, or else they would not be able to obtain anything at all, and this trial would have been a waste. Boom! An explosion once again sounded out as a powerful silver ray of light shot out from the stone statue's forehead, giving off a massive aura as it landed on Zhao Fu's body. Immediately, everyone's expressions became completely dim. They felt that there was no hope at all, as the stone statue had given them all of the legacy lands. The power and aura that the stone statue gave off quickly weakened, and everyone's gazes fell on Zhao Fu's body. They could not help but feel some hatred and jealousy toward Zhao Fu. They had worked so hard here, and they might have been able to obtain the power of inheritance. However, Zhao Fu had snatched all of them away, not leaving a single one for them. If they didn't know Zhao Fu's strength, they would definitely kill Zhao Fu right now. But now that they understood that Zhao Fu's strength was more terrifying than theirs, they naturally didn't dare to say anything and hid the jealousy and resentment in their hearts. Zhao Fu continued to close his eyes and absorb that massive amount of sword energy, and the sword god within the Emperor Killing Sword world went through shocking changes. Their eyes became blood red and fangs grew out of their mouths. Their faces became savage and twisted, and their skin became pale. Their hands were like sharp claws and gave off shocking power. Originally, their godhoods had been different colors and radiated different types of sword energy. But now, they were all dyed with blood, and the power they radiated was the same kind of crazily twisting sword energy of slaughter. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as everyone saw the massive sword give off an intense silver light and give off a shocking sword aura as it turned into a ray of sword light and shot into the sky. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the ray of sword light exploded, causing a sharp wave of light and terrifying power to spread out. A powerful wave of sword chi flooded out, looking incredibly terrifying. In the sky, there was a massive magic formation with 24 circles, and one of them gave off a silver light, making it seem as if the circle was filled with silver light. Seeing this scene, everyone could not help but curse. God damn it! Who is it? How did he obtain the legacy power so quickly? Did he want to live? By now, everyone had only just finished the first stage of the competition, and they could still remember the intense battles in the first stage. They had paid a great price and had barely made it through the first stage with great difficulty. Now, another 3 legacy powers had been obtained. If someone obtained another 3, the second stage of the competition would immediately begin, and it would be even faster than the first stage. If the second stage of the competition began, most people would be eliminated, but no one wanted to leave. They wanted to continue to obtain treasures and materials, which was why they were so angry. However, even if they were angry, there was nothing they could do. Firstly, they could not guess who this person was, and that person's power was incredibly terrifying. Even if they wanted to go and take revenge, they would be seeking death. At that moment, everyone felt a wave of pressure, and their expressions became anxious as they sped up and did all sorts of things. Within the sword god's legacy ground, Zhao Fu opened his eyes. He had already converted half of the 1,000 sword gods, and he only needed the other half to convert all of them. Zhao Fu did not hesitate at all, nor did he care about everyone's gazes. He gave off a powerful aura and flew to the side, taking Hua Ling and leaving this place. Before, Zhao Fu had received 2 pieces of information. One was about the sword god's legacy ground, and the other was about the killing god's legacy ground. Now, Zhao Fu was heading to the killing god's legacy ground. The killing sword's power was formed from killing intent and sword intent. Now that the sword god's power had greatly increased the killing sword's power, and he had converted half of the 1,000 sword gods. If Zhao Fu obtained the killing god's legacy power again, not only would his killing sword power greatly increase, but the 1,000 sword gods would also be completely converted and become existences like the killing god sword demons. Half a day passed, and Zhao Fu brought Hua Ling to a ball of blood. This ball of blood was hundreds of meters wide and floated in the air, giving off a bloody stench and a powerful killing power. The surroundings were deathly silent, and there was an intense sense of danger. Zhao Fu felt quite confused. News of the killing god's legacy ground had spread far and wide, so why was there no one coming? Just as Zhao Fu was feeling quite confused, Hua Ling understood the situation within the secret realm and explained, the entrance to the killing god's legacy ground is different from other entrances. It kills many godly spirits and fuses their flesh and blood into the legacy ground. Even though the other entrances are dangerous, they rarely take your life. Moreover, opening the entrance to the killing god's legacy ground requires a large amount of godly spirits' blood. Now that the entrance has been opened, from the looks of it, it must have fused with the blood of hundreds of godly spirits. Zhao Fu understood. This was indeed the killing god's legacy ground. Even the entrance was so bloodthirsty. There were not many killing gods in the god world. Even though this power was quite powerful, it was quite difficult to control, and it was easy for one to go berserk and become a monster that only knew how to kill. Suddenly, a cold-looking young man with blood-red eyes, blood-red hair, and blood-red robes flew out from the blood-red orb. His body gave off a blood-red light, and he gave off a massive killing intent, causing the atmosphere to become quite dangerous. The person in front of him was one of the peerless geniuses, the fourth-ranked Sha Ming. Chapter 21-28. Zhao Fu looked at Sha Ming. His entire body gave off a dense stench of blood, and he had most likely just killed a lot of people. Moreover, he was the only one around, so he had most likely killed all of them. Ordinary people who cultivated the Tao of killing, no matter how much they restrained themselves, would not become a monster that only knew how to kill, but they would still be a bloodthirsty person. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for the power of killing to grow. Zhao Fu was one of the better ones because he was too strong and had too much power. He was able to suppress that kind of killing intent, and it was even able to continuously strengthen it. Sha Ming did not even look at Zhao Fu, much less care about him. Those godly spirits were indeed killed by him, but it was just to open the entrance to the killing god's legacy land. Facing Sha Ming, the others naturally could not resist at all. They were either killed or scared to the point of fleeing, which was why there was not a single person here. After Sha Ming came out, he turned into a blood-red ray of light and disappeared. He did not even look at Zhao Fu. Naturally, he would not attack Zhao Fu because he had already completed his task. To him, Zhao Fu was just an ant in front of him, and he did not care about him at all. Zhao Fu did not say anything, nor did he care about him. Now that the entrance to the killing god's legacy land was open, he did not have to go through all that trouble. Bringing Hua Ling with him, Zhao Fu flew towards the ball of blood. Boom! An explosion sounded out as the ball of blood gave off a dense blood-red light. A berserk killing intent exploded out, sweeping out in all directions like a tidal wave, bringing with it an extremely powerful corrosive power. If an ordinary person was carried in, their body would be corroded by this killing intent, turning them into a monster that only knew how to kill, and they would completely lose their mind. However, this was nothing to Zhao Fu, because Zhao Fu had an even crazier and more twisted killing intent. In fact, Zhao Fu did not even activate his defensive barrier and directly flew into the ball of blood. Hua Ling was powerful and easily blocked that killing intent. After arriving at the legacy land, he found that it was a world of blood. There were corpses lying on the ground, and there were all kinds of deaths. Some had their heads chopped off, some had their arms chopped off, some had their bodies sliced in half, and some had their faces twisted in pain. The corpses covered the ground and gave off a dense stench of blood. The sky was also blood-red, and there were no businesses around, making this place look like hell. At the center of the corpses was a statue of an extremely cold young man. He had long hair and wore long robes. He held a saber in one hand and a sword in the other, and he gave off a terrifying killing intent. Zhao Fu and Hualing were not too surprised, as they had seen this scene many times before. Zhao Fu had Hualing wait here, and he smiled as he flew over. As long as he obtained the killing god's power, the killing sword power's power would become much stronger. The key was that the 1,000 sword gods would also complete their transformation and become killing god sword demons. When that time came, their power would become even more terrifying. Originally, Zhao Fu had thought that transforming them would take quite a bit of time, but he hadn't imagined that he could use Sovereign's might to speed things up. Boom! An explosion once again sounded out as a massive killing intent exploded out from the stone statue's body. Countless blood-red lights shot out in all directions, covering the surroundings. Arc! Howl sounded out as countless remnant souls appeared in the surrounding air. They had all sorts of deaths, but they all had something in common. They all had blood-red eyes and savage looks that were filled with killing intent. These were the remnant souls of the people who had died here. Now that they were controlled by the stone statue's slaughtering power, they were all revealed, and all of them gave off powerful slaughtering power. Boom! An explosion once again sounded out as countless slaughtering remnant souls flooded toward Zhao Fu. They gave off ferocious auras as if they could not be stopped at all and would be destroyed. Facing this flood of slaughtering remnant souls, Zhao Fu did not feel any fear at all and instead smiled. Boom! A massive black and blood-red sword chi flowed out of Zhao Fu's body before forming a black and blood-red vortex behind Zhao Fu's back. It was formed from sword chi and gave off a terrifying power, causing the surrounding temperature to fall. Whoosh! The massive black and blood-red vortex spun and gave off a shocking suction force. The countless remnant souls were sucked in like a flood, as if they had found a drain. Zhao Fu was now absorbing these slaughtering remnant souls into the Emperor-killing sword world. These remnant souls could all be turned into sword souls, increasing the Emperor-killing sword world's power. It could be said that this attack was not harmful to Zhao Fu at all, and was instead very beneficial. Zhao Fu smiled as he absorbed all of the slaughtering remnant souls into the Emperor-killing sword world and continued to fly towards the stone statue. At that moment, Zhao Fu's body gave off a powerful aura and prepared to resist the stone statue's might. However, he found that the stone statue did not give off any might, as if it had already acknowledged Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu came before the stone statue without any resistance. The stone statue looked down at Zhao Fu's body and gave off a blood-red light from its forehead. A powerful slaughtering power spread out, causing people to feel fear. Boom! An explosion sounded out as a blood-red ray of light giving off a powerful aura shot toward Zhao Fu. It was incredibly fast and landed on Zhao Fu's body, and a massive wave of slaughtering power flowed into Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu's body gave off a blood-red light, and sensing that massive wave of slaughtering power, Zhao Fu smiled and closed his eyes as he absorbed this power. The powerful killing god power flowed into Zhao Fu's body, causing Zhao Fu's body to be filled with slaughtering power. A wave of killing intent flowed into Zhao Fu's mind, and his eyes became a blood-red color. The killing sword intent's power quickly increased, and the Emperor-killing sword world continuously became more powerful. Within the killing sword lake, the 1,000 sword gods once again went through changes. Countless traces of black and blood-red energy flowed into their bodies. Half of their godhoods were black and blood-red, and the black and blood-red color continued to spread until it covered all of their godhoods. In that moment, the 1,000 sword gods' bodies gave off an attractive force, and the killing sword lake's water flowed into their bodies. The amount of water in the lake continuously decreased, and by the time it had decreased by half, boom, boom, massive explosions sounded out as the 1,000 sword gods within the killing sword lake turned into rays of black and blood-red light and shot into the sky. A massive wave of power spread out, instantly covering the world and causing it to sink. The 1,000 sword gods' bodies gave off intense black and blood-red light, and they looked like they went into sword obsession. They had messy hair, blood-red eyes, fangs, and savage looks. Their hands were like sharp claws, and their bodies gave off dense, killing intent. They were different from ordinary sword obsession. Not only did they give off berserk killing intent and pure sword intent, but they also gave off a divine might. This was a divine might formed from killing sword power, and it was far more powerful than ordinary sword obsession. Chapter 21-29. At that moment, the 1,000 sword gods in the sky stretched out a hand and grabbed towards the sword pool below. Shing, 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 sword hums sounded out as swords flew out of the sword pool and quickly shot into the sky, returning to the sword gods' hands. These swords were all their swords. Back then, Zhao Fu had not only thrown their bodies into the killing sword pool, but had also placed their swords into the killing sword pool. This was because their swords also needed to be converted to the slaughter attribute. Boom, boom, boom. Massive explosions sounded out as the sword gods held their swords, and a terrifying black and blood-red light spread out, forming black and blood-red pillars of light. There were 1,000 of them, and they gave off shocking auras. The Emperor Killing Sword world trembled, and boundless killing sword power flooded into the 1,000 black and blood-red pillars of light. The 1,000 pillars of light became larger and larger, and the power they gave off became more and more powerful. In the end, the 1,000 pillars of light formed a massive pillar of light that connected the heavens and the earth. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion rang out as the incomparably huge pillar of light erupted with an incomparably vast power. Black and blood-red ripples of light containing immense power continuously spread out, and the Emperor Killing Sword world's area quickly became larger. Space was slashed apart by the ripples of light, causing dirt to condense and the sky to expand. This continued for an hour or so, and the Emperor Killing Sword world's area expanded by more than 10 times. It was now as big as an entire world. These 1,000 sword gods were simply too helpful to the Emperor Killing Sword world, causing even Zhao Fu to feel quite shocked. The power that the Emperor Killing Sword world gave off could cause people's hearts to tremble. It was a terrifying power. The massive blood-red pillar of light dissipated, and the sword gods held their swords, giving off terrifying killing intent and a powerful might. Zhao Fu's consciousness entered the Emperor Killing Sword world and controlled the 1,000 sword gods to return to the killing sword pool, and he had them sit cross-legged and continue to cultivate. They had only just completed their transformations and needed to stabilize their current states. Moreover, they were only at the initial stage of sword obsession and needed a long time to develop. Of course, these 1,000 sword gods had immense potential, and if they reached the final state of sword obsession, they would be unkillable. Even a seal would not be able to seal them, and their power would be incredibly terrifying. Zhao Fu's consciousness returned to his body. The Killer God Stone statue had given him a total of 4 legacies, and the power that the stone statue gave off gradually weakened until the stone statue itself disappeared. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the blood-red light exploded out with a terrifying aura of slaughter. It gave off an intense blood-red light and a shocking bloody aura as it turned into a ray of blood-red light and shot into the sky. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the blood-red orb exploded, sending out a blood-red wave of light that seemed to be able to sweep away everything. A bloody aura spread out in all directions, causing the sky to become icy cold. In the sky, there were 24 magic circles, and one of them gave off a blood-red light. It was as if the circle was filled with blood. Sha Ming, who was flying to the side, suddenly stopped. He turned around and frowned slightly. He had obtained 6 legacies in the Legacy Land and only had 4 left. He had just left not long ago, and yet someone had obtained the remaining legacies so quickly. He remembered that he had seen a person at the entrance, but he had not paid much attention to him. It seemed that that person had obtained all of the remaining legacies. Sha Ming felt quite surprised. How could such an unremarkable person obtain 4 legacies? Could it be that the difficulty of the stone statue's trial had been reduced? Otherwise, why would he be given 4 legacies? Moreover, that person had not given off any aura of slaughter, so how had he passed the trial? Xia Ming could not understand this, but he did not think about it anymore. That person had only obtained 4 legacies, while he had obtained 6. He was much more powerful than that person, and he did not take that person to be his opponent. After all, he did not have the qualifications. Xia Ming did not mind too much, and he turned into a ray of light and disappeared over the horizon. He did not know who Zhao Fu was, nor did he know how terrifying Zhao Fu was. If he knew who Zhao Fu was, he definitely would not have thought like this. Moreover, Zhao Fu had only come a bit late. If he had come to the legacy land first, Xia Ming would not have been able to obtain the legacy power. Zhao Fu brought Hua Ling and left the legacy land. This time, Zhao Fu had made great gains. Not only had his 10,000 god power greatly grown, but his killing sword power had also become more than 10 times stronger. Now, his killing celestial mode was only slightly weaker than his reincarnation celestial Dao mode. Following this, Zhao Fu and Hua Ling continued to plunder godly spirits' divine power. Because they had fused with a few core gods' legacies, they needed other godly spirits' divine power to maintain balance. A few days later, Zhao Fu came to another core god's legacy land. This was the Oceanic God's Legacy Land. This was the second legacy land he had found in the past few days. The first was the Life Core God, and the statue was an extremely beautiful woman. She had a graceful figure and gave off a classical aura. She was the first Life Core God, and most of the famous life goddesses after her were elves. Zhao Fu had only obtained one of the Life Core God's legacy power, and it had almost been taken away by someone else. Because the Life Core God's trial was not very dangerous or difficult, many people had gathered there. By the time Zhao Fu had gone, he had already given 9 of the legacy powers to others, and there were countless people fighting over the final legacy power. In the end, Zhao Fu suppressed everyone else and obtained the final legacy power. Because the entrance to the Oceanic God's Legacy Land was at the bottom of a deep lake, it was quite well hidden, so not many people had discovered it. Zhao Fu was the first person to come here. Zhao Fu came to the Legacy Land and saw a boundless ocean. The sky was blue, and there were a few white clouds floating about. There was a stage on the surface of the water, and there was a 1,000-meter tall statue on the stage. The statue was of a woman with long hair. She was quite beautiful and had a mature figure. She wore very little and only covered her important parts. She held a spear and gave off a beautiful aura. Zhao Fu did not hesitate and gave off a powerful aura as he rushed forwards. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the statue gave off a blue light, and a massive wave of oceanic power spread out. The seawater continuously gathered and formed 3 massive sharks. The 3 sharks opened their massive mouths and gave off powerful auras as they rushed to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu took out the Sin Dragon sword and sent a powerful wave of power into it. Countless water droplets started to gather on the sword, forming a water sword that was hundreds of meters long and giving off shocking sword energy. Chapter 2130. Facing the 3 ferocious sharks, Zhao Fu swung the sword in his hand, and a powerful sword energy slashed out with an intense gale. Bang! 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 The 3 massive sharks were cleaved in half by the sword energy and turned into water, resulting in a massive sound. Zhao Fu held the Sin Dragon sword and continued to rush towards the stone statue. Boom! The stone statue once again gave off a massive wave of power, causing pillars of water to shoot out from the water. They gave off immense power as they smashed towards Zhao Fu, seeming as if they could crush a mountain. Zhao Fu's expression did not change at all. He continuously swung out with the Sin Dragon General, sending out sword energy after sword energy, chopping the pillars of water in half and causing them to scatter. After dealing with the countless pillars of water, Zhao Fu arrived before the stone statue. This time, there was no pressure, and Zhao Fu arrived before the stone statue completely unscathed. The stone statue lowered its head slightly and looked at Zhao Fu. It seemed as if it could see through Zhao Fu, and it smiled as it said, "You're actually able to obtain the recognition of so many overgods. You should be the person I've been waiting for." Hearing the stone statue's words, Zhao Fu was stunned. He felt quite startled. This was the first time he had heard the stone statue speak. Moreover, it was not an ordinary stone statue, but an ancient overgod. Zhao Fu could not imagine what sort of existence it was. The scene that the experts outside the secret region had been watching disappeared, causing them to become stunned. They had no idea what had happened to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu looked at the stone statue and asked, "What do you want?" The stone statue had said that Zhao Fu was the person she was waiting for, so something must have happened, which was why Zhao Fu had asked this. This was because Zhao Fu was not sure what sort of existence she was, but she was definitely extremely terrifying. She was extremely careful and would run as soon as she felt that something was off. Moreover, Zhao Fu had told Hualing to make preparations to escape. The stone statue smiled as it said, "I won't harm you. I just want you to take a sliver of my remnant soul away from here and help me recover my strength." Zhao Fu was quite surprised. "You're so powerful, yet you need me to take you away from here? Also, it's very difficult for me to help you with my current strength. The difference in strength between us is too great." The stone statue smiled as it explained, "Due to the God-creating formation's control, I am unable to leave this place. However, after many years of research, I found a way to leave here. That is, when the power of the legacy enters someone's body, that person must be powerful enough to be able to withstand the power of this strand of my soul. Since you were able to absorb so much sovereign's might, it shouldn't be a problem for you to withstand this strand of my soul. Also, because of the formation, I can only take away a sliver of my remnant soul's power. Almost all of my power will remain in the stone statue and continue to give legacy power to others." However, Zhao Fu did not agree. He looked at the stone statue as he asked, "What are the benefits and disadvantages of me? Can the other stone statues leave with me?" The stone statue paused for a moment before lightly laughing as it said, "Now, I can give you the most powerful ocean god's legacy power. If you need anything in the future, I can help you. As for the disadvantages, there are no disadvantages. The other stone statues' remnant souls are different from mine, so they cannot leave this place." Zhao Fu continued to ask, "What's the difference?" The stone statue replied, "It's because this sliver of my remnant soul contains the origin soul's power. Back then, when I created this mystic realm, I intentionally left this sliver of my remnant soul behind so that if anything happens in the future, I can use this sliver of my remnant soul to revive." Hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite shocked as he said, "You're saying that your main body died? But given that terrifying ancient sovereign power of yours, how could you possibly die?" The stone statue became quite serious as it said, "I'm not too sure about that. I'm just a sliver of my remnant soul, and there are many things that I don't know about my main body. I only know that my main body died in the celestial world, and that this matter is most likely related to the heaven awakening realm spirit." Massive waves crashed in Zhao Fu's heart. An ancient god, such a powerful existence, had died in the celestial world. The celestial world was simply too terrifying. However, after thinking about it, Zhao Fu could understand why the celestial world was so terrifying. It was the final place that celestials went to. Celestials were the ultimate existences in the world, and the celestial world's power was definitely monstrously powerful. Based on what Zhao Fu knew, many terrifying existences were in the celestial world, such as the Six Desires celestial art, the first person to grasp alchemy, and the person who raised the first king of kings. It was very likely that they were in the celestial world as well. Those people were incredibly powerful and had left behind all sorts of legends. Now that everyone heard their names, they could only feel incredibly shocked and worship them. Also, what was a heaven awakening realm spirit? They felt that they were incredibly terrifying existences. As such, Zhao Fu asked about this matter. The stone statue replied seriously, "The Heaven Awakening Realm Spirit is the consciousness of the entire Heaven Awakening world, and it is the existence that created everything." Hearing this explanation, Zhao Fu was given a big fright. Before, when he had heard about the Heaven Awakening Realm Spirit, Zhao Fu had not dared to think about it, and he had never thought that it really was the Heaven Awakening world consciousness. Now, all of the system announcements, the laws of the world, everything in the godly world, the underworld, every life in the Heaven Awakening world, and every plant were all controlled by it. It was the ultimate existence in the Heaven Awakening world, and no one could compare to it. It was the origin of everything. This sort of existence had already surpassed celestials and was even more terrifying than celestials. As such, Zhao Fu did not dare to think about it. Everyone in the Heaven Awakening world knew about its existence, but they did not dare to mention it because it was a forbidden region. At the same time, Zhao Fu felt quite curious. Why did the ocean god's death in the celestial world have something to do with the Heaven Awakening world spirit? Zhao Fu felt quite confused and asked, "Can you tell me why it has to do with the Heaven Awakening world spirit and what happened?" The stone statue smiled as it replied, "I'm not too sure. I'm just a trace of a remnant soul and can only faintly sense it. Also, the Heaven Awakening world spirit is not as simple as you think. It has many secrets, but only the main body knows about these things." Zhao Fu felt quite helpless and wanted to know about these things. However, because the stone statue was just a trace of a remnant soul, it only had a small portion of the main body's memories and power. The stone statue looked at Zhao Fu with its beautiful eyes and said, "Can you promise me now? Take me away from here." The remnant soul within the stone statue had unimaginable power, but it was unable to take away a trace of the legacy's power. After entering Zhao Fu's body, it did not have any power at all. Chapter 21:31. Otherwise, she would have been able to use her immense power to take over Zhao Fu's body and leave this place. She was a high and mighty ancient Lord God worshipped by countless gods, and for her to speak to Zhao Fu like this showed that she valued Zhao Fu greatly. Zhao Fu thought about it and felt that there were no downsides to this, and there were many benefits. The first was that he would obtain even more oceanic god's power, and the second was that he would obtain an assistant with immense potential. In the end, Zhao Fu had a feeling that she would be of great use when he went to the water domain. The Heaven Awakened world had 8 domains, and the water domain was mostly made up of water. There was very little land, and there were countless water creatures living in the water domain. The water domain was mostly made up of the ocean, and the oceanic god was the most revered god among the water creatures. Ordinary water creatures commoners might not know about other gods, but they definitely knew about the oceanic god. Now that Zhao Fu was taking the oceanic god's remnant soul to that place, perhaps it would be of great help. After thinking about it, Zhao Fu smiled and nodded in agreement. The stone statue gave a happy smile, and its forehead gave off an intense blue light as a shocking wave of oceanic power spread out. Runes appeared in the air, and the surrounding seawater started to spin, forming a massive whirlpool. The light from a stone statue's forehead did not shoot out, and the light from its forehead became brighter and brighter. Runes continuously appeared in the surroundings, densely covering the surroundings, and a shocking aura spread out. At that moment, a 3-meter-wide blue orb of light, giving off boundless oceanic power, slowly floated out from its forehead and floated down, fusing into Zhao Fu's body. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu felt a massive wave of oceanic power enter his body, causing his entire body to turn into an ocean. A terrifying aura exploded out from Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu immediately controlled his divinity to do its best to absorb this legacy power. This blue orb of light contained 15 traces of legacy power, and they all fused into Zhao Fu's body in an instant instead of one at a time. Boom, boom, boom. The orbs of light continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body, and Zhao Fu's body shone with an intense blue light. A massive power exploded out, forming shockwaves that spread out and ripples spread out from the surface of the water. Zhao Fu continued to absorb with all his might. Fortunately, Zhao Fu's physique and strength were abnormally strong. Otherwise, anyone who absorbed 15 legacy powers at once would definitely explode. In the end, Zhao Fu completely absorbed this power, and a fist-sized orb of light appeared in his chest. This orb of light was the remnant soul of the stone statue, and it was currently hidden within Zhao Fu's body. After losing the orb of light, the light and aura coming from the stone statue's forehead quickly disappeared. The stone statue seemed to have lost its soul and no longer had any life force, becoming like an ordinary statue. Then, the stone statue disappeared. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a massive vortex at the bottom of the lake exploded out with shocking power. It gave off an intense blue light and a boundless ocean aura as it turned into a massive blue wave of light and shot into the sky. Bam! A massive sound rang out as the blue light exploded. A blue wave of light spread out with a power that could drown everything as a boundless blue ocean aura surged out in all directions. The entire world trembled as the entire sky was covered by a blue light. A formless might covered the entire world as water droplets fell from the sky one after another. It was as though it was raining, and the rainwater was salty. In the sky, there was a massive formation of 24 circles. One of them gave off a blue light, as though the circle was filled with blue light. Everyone looked at the blue sky in astonishment, not knowing what was going on. Judging from the aura that was being emitted, it should be the power of the Ocean Master God. However, what was going on? Why would the Ocean Master God give off such a terrifying ripple? This was the first time they had seen such a ripple. They had never seen or heard of something like this before. Many of the powerful beings on the viewing gallery could vaguely guess what was going on. Even though they could not see the scene, they knew that Zhao Fu was at the Ocean Legacy ground. Right now, the only person who could cause such a huge ripple was Zhao Fu alone. There was definitely no other person. Although they knew that this matter had something to do with Zhao Fu, they did not know the specifics. Moreover, it was the stone statues that were blocking the scene of the Ocean Legacy ground. This caused everyone to instinctively feel a sense of fear. After all, the stone statues of the ancient master gods possessed an extremely horrifying amount of power. Right now, many of the powerful beings could feel their heads aching. That person had once again formed a connection with the stone statues of the ancient master gods. Not only was he extremely dangerous to begin with, but he also possessed a sacred bloodline. System announcement. The second phase of the trial of the gods has begun. The Pantheon imprint has to be raised to silver grade. If you're unable to raise it, you will be forcefully teleported out of the secret ground in 3 days and lose your right to participate in the trial. Hearing this system announcement, everyone came to their senses. Including the Ocean Master God, there were another 6 Master Gods who had given all of their power of legacy. Naturally, the second phase of the trial of the gods had begun. Motherf asterisk Kerr. Why is the second phase starting again so soon? Just which be asterisk starred is the one who caused this. I'm going to fight it out with him. Someone like that is simply too detestable. Sigh. The second phase is so much faster than the first phase. This is forcing us commoners into a dead end. If we want to attain the silver grade, we'll have to defeat more than 30 people of the same level. Yeah, that's too difficult. None of the people left here are weak. If most of the weak are eliminated in the first phase, there's no hope for me to raise it to silver grade. I'd better see what treasures there are. I feel the same way. Since we can't raise it to silver grade, we might as well make use of this time to get some treasures. So what if we can attain silver grade? In a few days, the third phase will start. Yeah. There are simply too many powerful beings participating in the trial of the gods this time around. So many strange and terrifying things have happened. How could the second phase start so quickly in the past? I'm I'm so pissed. We're going to be teleported out so soon. I haven't gotten many treasures yet. I wonder how that be Astra's starred is continuously obtaining the power of legacy of the Master Gods. I feel like it's the same person from before. Every time a beam of light shot into the sky, it would bring with it an aura. This aura should belong to that person. I wonder who that person is to be able to obtain so much power of legacy of the Master Gods. There's no use getting angry about this. Do you dare to say anything when you meet someone like that? In the end, you still have to lower your head. Otherwise, you'll lose your life. Chapter 21:32. Zhao Fu's body shone with a blue light, and his body was filled with the power of the ocean. It was as if he could control everything in the ocean. He could even sense a certain place in the ocean and communicate with all the creatures in the ocean. This feeling was really magical, as if he was the ruler of the ocean. If he had this ability, it would definitely be of great help to Zhao Fu when he headed to the water body. At that time, he would have to stay in the ocean for a long time. A ball of light appeared in his body. This ball of light was really small and was only the size of a lychee. It looked really weak, and most importantly, it had no power at all. Zhao Fu only needed to make a slight move to destroy this ball of light. However, Zhao Fu naturally wouldn't do that, because it wouldn't benefit Zhao Fu in any way. Also, because he had obtained 15 legacy powers at once. Zhao Fu's 10,000 god power had increased by a huge amount. Now it was really unstable. Luckily, Zhao Fu had robbed the power of many god spirits just to use it at a time like this. Zhao Fu sat on the platform and started to refine the god power of many god spirits. Zhao Fu also had Hualing look around to see if there was anything good. At that moment, the ocean chief god in Zhao Fu's body was really weak and didn't send out any messages. Moreover, she had to hide herself so that she could leave this place with Zhao Fu. Now, the second stage of the competition started, and everyone started to fight. Bang, bang, bang. A series of loud sounds rang out as the god spirits fought one after another. Cold light shot out in all directions, and terrifying shockwaves spread out, causing the weather to change and the clouds to rumble. The start of the second stage messed up many people's plans. Initially, most of them wanted to go all out to fight for the position of the Master of the Gods when the final trial started. During this period of time, everyone wanted to obtain as many benefits as possible to increase their strength. But now, everyone was prepared for the final battle. If this went on, the third and fourth stage would start even sooner. The green-robed young man was the one who had obtained the Tree Master God's power. He was called the Tree King, and he was flying toward a certain place. Suddenly, a group of gods rushed out with powerful auras and surrounded the Tree King. They still chose to work together to eliminate the smaller groups and the lone ones. There were about 300 gods in this group. Seeing that the Tree King was alone and had an extraordinary aura, they wanted to stop the Tree King and attack him together to obtain benefits from him. If it was just a few people, they would definitely run away when they met the Tree King. But now that they had more than 300 people, ordinary geniuses would have to submit in front of them. This gave them sufficient strength. A valiant-looking woman yelled, "Hand over all of your good things, and we'll let you off this time. Otherwise, you'll die here. I advise you to be obedient." The Tree King's eyes were filled with disdain and arrogance. "Do you think trash like you can threaten me?" These words caused the many deities to be enraged. They did not say anything and immediately attacked. Streams of power ferociously attacked the Tree King. At that moment, the Tree King released a powerful energy, and its back gave off a jade green light. Suddenly, countless branches extended out and blocked in front of it, giving off a jade green light. Bang, bang, bang. Massive sounds rang out as countless rays of light shot out in all directions, forming a powerful aura that spread out and formed a powerful wind. However, after everything calmed down, the Tree King stood there unscathed. The branches in front of it dispersed, and the Tree King gave a cold smile as it looked at the many deities. The deities were quite startled. They had thought that Zhao Fu had some power, but they had never thought that the Tree King would be so strong. Even with so many of them attacking him, he was still fine. Now, everyone looked at the Tree King in fear. They understood that he was not to be trifled with, and they looked at each other, not knowing what to do next. The valiant-looking woman said, "Let's go first. There's no need to provoke this kind of person. It's too dangerous." Everyone nodded. They only wanted to bully the weak, and they did not want to deal with those who were too strong. Not only was it troublesome, but it was also possible for them to be injured. Following this, everyone wanted to turn and leave. The Tree King coldly laughed and said, "Have you asked me if you want to leave now?" Boom! A massive aura exploded out from the Tree King's body. The Tree King's body gave off a green light, and dozens of roots grew out from its back. There were many deities squatting at the tips of the roots, giving off a cold light. In that instant, the Tree King brought with it dozens of roots and a powerful aura as it charged forward. It was extremely fast, and a green light tore through the sky. Chi, chi, chi. Muffled sounds rang out as the Tree King's body rushed past the crowd and stopped. However, the roots pierced through the bodies of the deities, and corpses hung from the roots. The scene was quite terrifying. Everyone was given a big fright. He had killed dozens of deities in an instant without being able to resist at all. This person was definitely not someone they could afford to offend. At that moment, everyone did not hesitate at all and turned into rays of light as they shot in all directions. If they did not run now, they would definitely die here. You still want to run? The Tree King coldly laughed as a massive wave of power spread out from its body. Countless rays of green light shot out, and a massive tree giving off a massive aura appeared. It was over 1,000 meters tall and had lush branches and leaves that gave off a green light. Swish, swish, swish. The massive tree trembled and leaves shot out, bringing with them traces of sharp power as they shot out in all directions like raindrops. They were so densely packed that it was impossible to count them, and it was as if the sky was filled with them. Arg! Pained cries sounded out as some of the deities' bodies were sliced apart by the leaves, causing blood to fly everywhere. Without being able to resist at all, their corpses fell from the sky and smashed into the ground. There were originally more than 200 godly spirits left, but after enduring this attack, only about 60 godly spirits remained. Every single one of them was injured. Now, their faces were filled with fear as they understood how terrifying the Tree King was. They immediately knelt on the ground and begged, "Lord, we were blind and offended you. Please spare our lives, don't kill us. Now, we know we were wrong." The Tree King gave a trace of a smile, and a trace of arrogance appeared in his eyes. "It's good that you know. Seeing how you bunch of trash are admitting your mistakes, I'll spare your lives. Also, my name is the Tree King, and I'm the holy son of the half-celestial world. Spread the news that I'm going to be the Lord of the gods this time. Anyone who blocks my way will die." Chapter 21:33. The Tree King did not want to keep a low profile. He was not a low-profile person, and he did not have any misgivings. His goal was to obtain the Master of the Gods, so he did not want to waste time here. Everyone was shocked and stared at the Tree King with wide eyes. They had never thought that they would meet the legendary Holy Sun. No wonder he was so terrifying, and there was no need for him to lie. Some people immediately tried to curry favor with him. "Greetings, Lord Holy Sun. Lord Holy Sun is indeed heroic and extraordinary, and we admire him greatly. I'm so happy to be able to meet the legendary Holy Sun and his people. Lord Holy Sun, I will always respect you. I'm so happy to be able to meet you. Lord Holy Sun, I'm willing to do anything for you. I wonder if Lord Holy Sun can take me in." "That's right. What can I do for you, Lord Saint? Even though we are very weak to you, with your noble status, we can help you do some things. Lord Holy Sun, you're the most noble person I've ever seen in my life. None of the other princes or princes are as noble as you. You're a natural saint, and no one else in the secret realm can compare to you." Hearing these figures, the smile on the Tree King's face became even wider, and he said, "You people are still of some use to me, so I'll take you in. Also, if you perform well, I'll give you some benefits." Everyone looked excited and hurriedly kowtowed to thank the Tree King. To be able to become the Holy Sun subordinates would be an extremely good thing, as they could not come into contact with such an existence. The Tree King's identity immediately spread, causing a sensation in all directions. This was because he had a divine bloodline, which was a bloodline that surpassed the sovereign bloodline and contained immense power. The expert's expressions became serious. Last time, a Holy Sun had already given off the aura of a saint, and now another Holy Sun had appeared. That was 2 Holy Suns, and this put a lot of pressure on them. This time, the difficulty of the competition had increased exponentially, and it was extremely rare for 2 Holy Suns to appear. However, they had met one in the previous competition. Within the secret realm, countless people felt a wave of pressure and increased their power with all their might, not daring to be careless at all. Outside of the secret realm, there was an uproar. Originally, there were only legendary saints, but now there were 2 of them. It was too exciting. They had seen the legendary saints with their own eyes. Thinking about this competition of gods, everyone smiled in anticipation. Not only would they be able to see a battle between 2 Emperor stars, but they would also be able to see a battle between 2 Holy Suns. As long as he could witness these 2 battles, everything would be worth it. This competition would definitely go down in history. Elsewhere, a gray-white orb of light floated in the air, giving off an intense light and a ferocious aura. It gave off beast cries and was quite terrifying. This was the legacy ground of the Beast Master God, and there were already quite a number of beast gods gathered here. Right now, they were undergoing trials, and there were probably thousands of them. A burly young man with short, blood-colored hair and a rugged face appeared. He was dressed in animal hide. The young man looked at the people present and said savagely, "All of you scram, otherwise I'll die here." These words immediately caused the people present to be quite dissatisfied. Some people directly said, "Who are you, brat? Do I want to die? Do you think he's one of those peerless experts? If you tell us to leave, we'll leave." Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as a gray-white aura exploded out from the young man's body. It flooded out in all directions, seeming to be able to inundate everything. Roar! 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 Loud roars could be heard from the grayish-white mist. Powerful beasts appeared from within the grayish-white mist. There were lions, tigers, pigs, wolves, crocodiles, and so on. Each beast was 10 or so meters long and was gray-white. They gave off ferocious auras as they looked at the godly spirits. There were over 10,000 of them, creating a terrifying scene. Sensing these beasts' auras, the godly spirits could not help but feel quite afraid. They could not help but retreat, not wanting to fight with the young man over the legacy power of the Beast Master God. At the same time, some people recognized the young man. He's from the 10,000 god beast bloodline and has the power to control 10,000 god beasts. He's incredibly powerful, and we can't afford to offend him. Let's leave and not clash with someone like that. The 10,000 god beast bloodline isn't just an ordinary kind of terrifying. I heard that they've inherited the legacy of the Beast Master God and have produced many peerless experts. Everyone in the divine world fears them. With his terrifying aura, he'll at least be able to get into the top 3. There's definitely not a single ordinary person from the 10,000 god beast bloodline. The 10,000 god beast bloodline hasn't appeared in hundreds of years. I heard that they're preparing to become a divine faction. Who would have thought that someone would come to participate in the competition? Divine faction power? Is the 10,000 god beast bloodline really so terrifying? If the 10,000 god beast bloodline becomes a divine faction, then this person will be a holy sun. This feels so scary. Let's not talk too much. We'd better be smart and leave this place. Otherwise, if a fight breaks out, we'll be the ones to suffer. The godly spirits all left in fear. Not a single one of the thousands of godly spirits dared to stay. This was how terrifying the young man was. The young man's name was Beast War, and he was the most powerful person from the 10,000 god beast bloodline. He had come to participate in the competition to obtain the ruler of the gods and obtain a massive amount of fate. The rumors outside were not wrong. The 10,000 god beast bloodline was about to become a divine faction, and they needed a massive amount of fate. If Beast War could obtain the ruler of the gods and bring a massive amount of fate back to the 10,000 god beast bloodline, it would be of great help to them becoming a divine faction. Even though Beast War's bloodline was not a divine bloodline, it was definitely a peak imperial bloodline and was just a bit away from becoming a divine bloodline. His power was also incredibly great, and he felt that he was not any weaker than God Kerr or Sha Ming. It was possible that he was one of the most powerful people to challenge the possessors of the Emperor's Star. Originally, Bestial Jean had wanted to keep a low profile, waiting for the final battle to erupt with his full strength. If he caught his opponent off guard, he would reap great rewards. However, Holy Sun after Holy Sun had appeared, and because they had divine bloodlines, they were much more terrifying than him. As such, Beast War did not hide his power and directly released it. Now that the thousands of godly spirits had been scared away, Beast War gave off a massive aura and charged forwards with the beasts around him. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the gray-white orb of light gave off an intense light. Countless gray-white rays of light containing powerful auras shot towards Beast War incredibly quickly, giving off shocking sounds. Chapter 2134. Roar, roar, roar. Facing the countless pale white beams of light, the beast horde following Beast War opened their mouths and gave off massive roars. Corporeal sound waves spread out, giving off an unstoppable power. Bang, bang, bang. The beams of light that shot over were shattered by the sound waves and turned into countless specks of light that dissipated. Beast War flew into the orb of light, and the beast horde flooded in. After entering the God's Legacy land, there were lush greenery and all sorts of wild beasts. There was a massive statue on a stone stage. This statue was 1,000 meters tall and looked like an elderly man. He had a long beard and was dressed in robes. He held a wooden staff, and there was a tiger statue next to him, giving off a shocking aura. Beast War did not waste any time and gave off a massive aura as he rushed at the statue. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the statue gave off a gray-white light and a wild beast power spread out. The gray-white light condensed into wild beasts, including tigers, leopards, lions, cows, and others. There were many of them, roughly 10,000 of them. All of them gave off ferocious auras and were pale white in color. Now, both sides had over 10,000 wild beasts, and they all gave off terrifying auras as they ferociously looked at each other. After a short stalemate, the wild beasts from both sides gave off powerful auras as they charged forwards. Bang, bang, bang. Massive sounds rang out as the wild beasts clashed together, using their mouths to bite each other, using their claws to attack, and using their heads to bash each other. It was incredibly intense, and the scene was quite terrifying. After a while, Beast War's wild beasts killed the other wild beasts, and Beast War came before the statue. The statue did not give off any might, showing that it approved of Beast War. At that moment, the statue's forehead gave off a silver-white light as a powerful wild beast power spread out, accompanied by beast cries. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a gray-white light shot out from the statue's forehead, giving off a massive aura as it landed on Beast War's body, and a massive wild beast power entered Beast War's body. Boom! 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 Explosions continuously sounded out as gray-white light continuously shot out from the statue's forehead, giving off a powerful wild beast power and entering Beast War's body. Beast War absorbed this power with all of his might. This power of the god of wild beasts was very useful in Beast Wars, as it allowed one's own power to return to its ancestral roots. The ancestor of the Beast Wars had a trace of the bloodline of the Beast Master God, and was also the first person to receive the legacy of the Beast Master God. Furthermore, it was 10 streams of legacy power. His ancestor had relied on that strand of bloodline, as well as the power of the 10 legacies, to become an unparalleled, powerful being and establish the lineage of the 10,000 god beasts. Therefore, the power of the Beast Master God was able to revert the power of the Beast Wars. This kind of atavism not only increased the power of the beast, but also increased the level of the beast's power. Suddenly, the stone statue's aura weakened, and the stone statue frowned because the stone statue had only given him 7 legacies. The beast warrior was very dissatisfied with this result. He thought that he would be able to obtain 10 powers of inheritance like his ancestor, but now he only had 7, and there were still 3 that he had yet to obtain. Moreover, there was already someone who had obtained 10 legacy powers in the secret land. Although he did not know who that person was, if others could do it, why couldn't he? He did not think that he was inferior to others. However, even if the beast warrior was dissatisfied, there was nothing he could do. After all, he could not steal the stone statue's beast power. In the end, the beast warrior fused all of the legacy powers and left the legacy land in disappointment and anger. He started to massacre all creatures he saw, and now he desperately needed to vent the unhappiness in his heart. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions continuously sounded out as a handsome-looking man's stone statue's forehead shot out a white light that landed on a cold-looking young man's body. This young man was the #1 expert, Tianyu. The stone statue was a world god, and it was currently giving Tianyu an endless amount of world god legacy power. Tianyu closed his eyes and focused on absorbing this power. This power was of great help to Tianyu, so he would not give up. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the stone statue once again shot out a white light, giving off a massive aura as it shot toward Zhao Fu. An even more powerful wave of world god power entered Tianyu's body. This was already the 8th legacy power, and there were still 2 more legacy powers before he would have 10 legacy powers. Tianyu felt quite confident. With his power, status, fate, and the fact that he had an Emperor Star, he would normally be able to obtain 10 legacy powers. Boom! A massive explosion once again sounded out as the stone statue shot out a white light, giving off a massive aura as it shot toward Zhao Fu. An even more powerful wave of world god power entered Tianyu's body. Tianyu continued to absorb this power, but after a while, Tianyu was shocked to find that the stone statue's power was weakening. This meant that the stone statue could only give him 9 legacy powers. What was going on? Normally, he would have obtained all of the legacy powers, but why were there only 9? Tianyu felt that the stone statue had purposefully left one behind, or else it would be impossible for it to only give him 9. Why had the stone statue purposefully left one behind? Who was this power of inheritance for? Thinking about Tianyu, he could not help but feel a trace of admiration. The stone statue had left behind a legacy power for him. Even he did not have such treatment. After absorbing the world god power, Tianyu left the legacy land and continued to increase his power. As the #1 in the competition of gods, the pressure on him was immense. Boom, boom, boom. Massive explosions continuously sounded out as a ferocious-looking young man's stone statue shot out rays of black light, giving off shocking auras as they landed on Zhao Fu's body. The destruction god power continuously entered Mielu's body. Mielu gave a trace of a smile as she absorbed this destruction power with all her strength. To her, this power was of great help. Mielu was also quite confident that since she had obtained 10 legacy powers, she would not be inferior to others. If others could obtain all of the legacy powers, she would definitely be able to as well. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the ferocious stone statue shot out a black ray of light toward Zhao Fu with a massive aura, and an even more powerful destruction core god's power entered Mie Glaze's body. After a short while, Mielu looked quite shocked. She also found that the stone statue's power was weakening, but this was only the 9th legacy power. With her status, power, fate, and the God Star, she had only obtained 9 legacy powers. Mielu was very unconvinced. However, the stone statue's power had clearly weakened, and it had only given Mielu 9 legacy powers. Mielu also found that the stone statue had purposefully left behind 1 legacy power. Chapter 2135. Mielu felt quite curious as to who the legacy power was for and why the stone statue had done this. Since the stone statue did not want to give it to him, Mielu could not take it by force. As such, he could only leave and continue to increase his power. There were too many experts in this competition, and Mielu did not have full confidence that he would be able to obtain the title of King of the Gods. At that moment, Hikari Kimui was flying toward a certain place. He had just obtained 5 light legacy powers. Suddenly, a skinny young man with black hair and black clothes gave off a massive darkness aura as he blocked in front of Hikari Kimui. This young man was a darkness god. Even though he had not entered the top 10 geniuses, his power was still quite terrifying. He was just below Hikari Kamui, and his name was Dark God. Darkness and light were 2 opposing attributes, and the darkness god and light god were each other's greatest enemies. They instinctively hated each other, and whenever they were together, they would fight. The battle between Hikari Kimui and Dark God had lasted for a long time. Last time, Hikari Kimui had defeated Dark God with a slight advantage and become one of the top 10 geniuses. On the other hand, Dark God had been defeated by Hikari Kimui and had no chance of becoming one of the top 10 geniuses. Now, Dark God had found Hikari Kimui because he wanted to fight him again. He wanted to defeat this old enemy of his and become even more powerful than him. Now that the second stage of the competition had started so quickly, Dark God's plans were disrupted. He had wanted to challenge Hikari Kimui later on, but with so many changes happening in the competition, he was worried that Hikari Kimui would be defeated by someone else. Out of the top 10 geniuses, Hikari Kimui was ranked 10th. If someone wanted to challenge him, Hikari Kimui would be the best choice. However, Dark God only wanted Hikari Kimui to be defeated by him, so he had acted early. Hikari Kimui frowned and looked at the Dark God. He understood why the Dark God was looking for him. The Shadow God did not waste any more words. A massive wave of darkness power, bringing with it a massive aura, flowed out, and the surrounding light seemed to be devoured. The Shadow God's eyes coldly looked at Hikari Kimui as he directly attacked. Hikari Kimui also gave off a powerful light power, and his body gave off an intense white light that illuminated the surroundings as a shocking aura spread out. The Dark God's speed was very fast. With a black spear in his hand, he rushed in front of Hikari Kamui. The spear was imbued with the power of darkness as it stabbed towards Hikari Kimui, leaving behind a huge black stream of light. Hikari Kimui also took out a white spear, and a powerful wave of light power entered the spear, causing it to give off a blinding white light. He vigorously stabbed forwards, and the white spear gave off shocking power as it stabbed forwards. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the black and white spears gave off shocking power as they collided, resulting in a massive explosion. The black and white spears shot out in all directions, and a shocking aura spread out. The Shadow God's expression became cold as he put away the spear in his hand and sent a powerful wave of power into it. He then raised the spear and slashed downwards, stabbing towards Hikari Kamui. Hikari Kamui used his spear to blocking the incoming spear. The Shadow God suddenly felt a wave of pain from his darkness power, and he pushed out with his spear, causing Hikari Kimui's body to retreat 5 or 6 meters. Boom! An explosion once again sounded out as a massive wave of darkness power exploded out from the Shadow God's body. A massive black disk appeared, and the surrounding heaven and earth power quickly flowed into it. The black disk absorbed countless amounts of heaven and earth power and gave off a powerful aura, causing people to feel a sense of danger. Swish, 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 rays of black light containing shocking power shot towards Hikari Kamui incredibly quickly. There were thousands of them, and they seemed to be able to pierce through everything, giving off terrifying sounds. Boom! Facing the countless rays of black light, Hikari Kimui's expression was serious, and he exploded out with a terrifying light power. A gale blew as Hikari Kimui's back gave off a white light, and a massive pair of white wings of light spread out with immense power, instantly forming a white defensive barrier. Bang! 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 The rays of black light containing immense power slammed against the white barrier, resulting in explosions and massive waves of power rippled out. The thousands of rays of black light were unable to harm Hikari Kimui at all, and they only caused a small crack in the defensive barrier. Hikari Kimui coldly looked at the shadow god and said, "It's my turn now." Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Hikari Kamui spread out the wings of light on his back. The wings of light gave off a piercing light, and a shocking power spread out. Bang! Bang! Two rays of white light shot out from the wings of light, giving off a power that seemed to be able to purify everything. They shot towards a shadow god with an unstoppable force. The shadow god's expression fell, and he stretched out his black spear. A massive wave of darkness power flowed out, forming a black circular defensive barrier of light. Bang! Bang! Two massive sounds rang out as the two rays of white light slammed against the black defensive barrier. The massive black defensive barrier was shattered by the two rays of light, and the massive power sent the shadow god flying back 100 meters, a trace of blood leaking out of his lips. Boom! The shadow god looked furious as he raised his spear, and a massive wave of darkness power exploded out. The black light disk behind him quickly spun, and black ripples of light spread out, causing the light to dim and darkness to cover the surroundings. A terrifying darkness aura continuously spread out like a flood. Sensing this aura, the countless creatures in the surroundings felt as if they had fallen into boundless darkness, and they could not help but feel terror. Hikari Kimui sensed an intense sense of danger, and his expression became serious as he also exploded out with a powerful wave of light divine power. The wings of light behind him spread out, giving off a brilliant white light that illuminated the surroundings. A massive wave of light power spread out, and the countless creatures felt as if they were bathed in sunlight. There was no longer any fear or darkness in their hearts. Boom! The black light disk on the shadow god's back shot out an incredibly massive ray of black light, giving off world-destroying power as it shot towards Hikari Kamui. It was incredibly fast, and as it streaked through the air, space continuously collapsed. Boom! The pair of white wings on Hikari Kimui's back gave off a brilliant light, and a massive ray of white light, giving off world-purifying power, shot forwards like a bolt of lightning. It was impossible to defend against. Bang! A shocking explosion sounded out as the two massive rays of light clashed together. A black and white orb of light, giving off destructive power, blasted out. In that instant, the ground, trees, boulders, and grass were all destroyed. A berserk gale brought with it countless rocks and sand, and the ground continuously trembled. The scene was incredibly terrifying, as if it was a natural disaster. Everyone nearby sensed these terrifying shockwaves, and their expressions changed. Such terrifying battle shockwaves could only be released by peerless geniuses. Just which two peerless geniuses were fighting. Chapter 21:36. Everyone could not help but rush forwards. They were greatly looking forward to a battle between geniuses, and their hearts were thumping. After everything settled, there was a massive crater that was thousands of meters wide in the ground. In the air, blood leaked out of the dark god and Hikari Kimui's mouths, and they looked at each other with pale faces. Both of them had been heavily injured by this attack. Hikari Kimui said coldly, "With your strength, you still can't defeat me. You should just give up." The dark god looked furious. "Is that so? I'll show you my true power." Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the dark god exploded out with immense power. Countless rays of black light shot out from his body, and the dark god's body turned into a massive snake. This massive snake was 10,000 meters long and had 9 heads. Its body was covered with black scales, and its eyes were blood red. There was also a black and gold horn on its head, and it gave off a massive might. Its body gave off a dark aura that spread out like a flood. Everyone had just arrived, and when they saw the massive black snake, they felt quite shocked. In front of this massive snake, they felt incredibly small, and a wave of terror welled up in their hearts. The dark god had turned into a massive black snake, and its 9 heads ferociously looked at Hikari Kamui. It opened its massive mouth and gave off a powerful dark aura as it bit towards Hikari Kamui like a bolt of lightning. Hikari Kamui's expression slightly fell, and he swung his spear, sending out massive arcs of white light towards the incoming 9 heads. Bang! 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 The gigantic arcs of light struck the snake's head, but they did not cause any damage to the snake's head. The black scales contained a strong power of darkness, and each one of them was extremely hard. The snake's head continued to move towards the light god's mercy. Boom! At this moment of danger, the massive wings of light on Hikari Kamui's back gave off an intense light, and a massive white defensive barrier covered Hikari Kamui's body, giving off an aura of light. Bang! 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 The 9 heads gave off terrifying power as they slammed against the defensive barrier, causing it to shatter. Hikari Kamui's body flew backwards like a rubber ball, smashing into the ground and opening up a large crater. The massive black snake gave a savage smile and quickly crawled towards Hikari Kamui. Its 9 heads gave off immense power as they bit towards Hikari Kamui. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a white light containing immense power shot into the sky from the ground, forming a white pillar of light. Heaven and earth power continuously flowed into the pillar of light, causing it to give off intense light and dyeing the sky white. A massive power spread out as Hikari Kamui's body became 10,000 meters large. He was wearing white armor, and he held a white spear, giving off immense power and giving off a divine aura. Bang! Hikari Kamui, who had become 10,000 meters large, swung his spear and gave off terrifying power as he stabbed towards the massive black snake, causing the air to explode. The massive black snake was hit in the abdomen, and its massive body flew back hundreds of meters before crashing into the ground, smashing open a massive crater and causing the ground to continuously tremble. When a spectator saw a massive person and a massive snake, they understood who was fighting. It turned out that it was Light God and Dark God fighting. They were old rivals, and no one knew who would win this time. Zhao Fu looked at Light God and Dark God, and he looked at Light God. Bang! Bang! Hikari Kamui held the white spear and rushed at the massive black snake. He raised his foot and stomped down on the ground, causing the ground to cave in and massive footprints to appear. SSSS. The massive black snake furiously crawled up from the ground and gave off massive hisses. Its body gave off an intense black light as a terrifying darkness power exploded out from its body. Boom! 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 The 9 massive black snake heads opened their mouths and shot out 9 massive black rays of light that gave off destructive power as they shot forwards, sending out massive shock waves. Hikari Kamui stretched out his hand and formed a white defensive barrier that gave off an aura of light. Bang! Bang! Massive sounds sounded out as the 9 black rays of light slammed against the defensive barrier, causing it to shatter. The black rays of light sent Hikari Kamui flying back hundreds of meters. The massive light god's mercy smashed into a mountain, and the terrifying power caused the mountain to collapse, causing countless rocks to fly everywhere. A trace of golden blood leaked out of Hikari Kamui's lips. The massive black snake's eyes savagely looked at Hikari Kamui, and it once again opened its massive mouth. Countless rays of black light shot out, and a shocking power spread out. Boom! 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 Massive sounds sounded out as the black rays of light containing shocking power shot towards Hikari Kamui incredibly quickly. They gave off shocking auras as they tore through the air, sending many rocks and sand flying. Hikari Kamui half squatted on the ground and was about to stand up when he saw the 9 rays of light, and a massive wave of light energy flowed out. A massive pair of white wings appeared on Hikari Kamui's back, and they slowly spread out, giving off boundless light energy as a white defensive barrier appeared in front of him. Bang! 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 Massive sounds once again sounded out as the 9 rays of light containing immense power slammed against the defensive barrier. The defensive barrier successfully blocked the 9 rays of light, and only a few cracks appeared on it. Hikari Kamui looked at the massive black snake and sent a powerful wave of light energy into his wings as he vigorously flapped them. Boom! 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 Countless white rays of light containing shocking power shot out, bringing with them strong gales. There were simply too many of them to count. Roar! 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 The white rays of light hit the massive black snake's body, opening up wounds and causing black blood to continuously flow out. The massive black snake gave off pained howls. Hikari Kamui's expression was cold as he vigorously flapped his massive wings of light, and his body shot out like an arrow. He gave off a massive aura as he rushed in front of the massive black snake and sent a massive wave of power into his spear. The spear gave off boundless white light as a terrifying light energy spread out, seeming to be able to turn everything into nothingness. Boom! Hikari Kamui vigorously stabbed towards the massive black snake with his spear. The spear gave off a ray of light and a power that seemed to be able to pierce through everything, and it was incredibly terrifying. A massive explosion sounded out. The massive black snake gave off an intense black light, forming a massive black energy barrier that covered its massive body, and a massive wave of darkness energy spread out. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the massive black barrier was pierced through by a white spear. Chi! A muffled explosion sounded out as the spear gave off immense power and stabbed into the massive black snake's abdomen, causing blood to fly everywhere. Chapter 21:37 SSSSS. The black serpent's abdomen was pierced by the spear, and the intense pain caused its 9 heads to hiss in agony. Hikari Kamui's expression was icy cold, and a massive wave of power flowed into the spear in his hand. The spear gave off an even more intense white light, and an even more terrifying power surged out as Hikari Kamui once again stabbed out with all his might. Puchi! The white spear directly pierced through the black serpent's body, causing black blood to spurt out, and the black serpent once again hissed in pain. The spectators watched this scene in shock. Now that the black serpent's body had been pierced by the spear, it seemed that the black serpent was definitely going to lose, and it might even die at Hikari Kamui's hands. However, the dark god's power was truly terrifying, and the black serpent's power was so terrifying that it could easily cause a disaster. It was just a pity that it was not as powerful as Hikari Kamui. Hikari Kamui was worthy of being one of the top 10 geniuses. This was something that everyone was convinced of. Most of the spectators also believed that the black serpent had lost. The people from Hikari Kamui's faction were slightly worried that Hikari Kamui would kill the dark god, which would be very troublesome. The people from the dark god faction stared coldly at the people from Hikari Kamui's faction. Suddenly, just as everyone thought that the outcome of the battle had been decided, something unexpected happened. The black serpent, which had gone berserk from pain, opened its 9 heads and gave off a ferocious aura as it charged towards Hikari Kamui. It was incredibly fast, and Hikari Kamui was unable to react at all. One of the serpent's heads bit Hikari Kamui's shoulder, another bit Hikari Kamui's arm, one bit his waist, one bit his thigh, and some other parts of his body. Hikari Kamui vigorously struggled, wanting to break free from the serpent's head that was biting his body. However, the serpent's strength was too great, and Hikari Kamui could not break free for a moment. Moreover, the hand that held the spear was bitten by 3 of the serpent's heads, and he could not break free at all. Suddenly, the dark serpent's back emitted countless rays of black light, and the dark god appeared from within. He had a cold smile on his face as he looked at Hikari Kamui and said, "Do you think I'm still the same as before? I specially prepared this move for you." The dark god stretched out a hand, and a massive wave of darkness power flowed out as he shouted, "9 God Snake Seal." Boom! A loud explosion rang out. The black snake that had bitten Hikari Kamui emitted an intense black light. Then, it turned into a stream of light that wrapped around Hikari Kamui's body. Like a black vortex, it wrapped around Hikari Kamui's body. A massive dark aura spread out as the black vortex pulled Hikari Kamui into the darkness, wanting to seal Hikari Kamui within the endless darkness. Hikari Kamui raised his head and roared as a massive wave of light god power exploded out from his body. Countless blinding white rays of light shot out and pierced through the black vortex, illuminating the surroundings and causing a massive wave of light aura to cover the surroundings. Seeing this, the dark god did not panic, and he instead gave a cold smile as he stretched out his hand and pressed down, causing a massive wave of darkness power to flow out. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as 9 ferocious serpent heads came out of the black vortex and bit into various parts of Hikari Kamui's body, causing a wave of darkness power to flow into his body. Hikari Kamui's expression was quite unsightly, and the white light that he gave off gradually weakened. A wave of darkness power started to pull him deeper into the darkness, and Hikari Kamui's body started to disappear. Everyone looked quite confused. Hikari Kamui had clearly won. So how had the tables turned so quickly? Why did it seem as if Hikari Kamui was going to lose? The dark god's power was quite terrifying. The dark god's black eyes looked at Hikari Kamui and gave a trace of a savage smile. "This time, I've won. I will replace you as one of the top 10 geniuses and will continue to challenge other peerless experts. I won't stay at 10th place." Suddenly, Hikari Kamui stopped struggling, and his expression became calm as he looked at the dark god and said, "You are indeed much more powerful than before to be able to force me to this extent. However, can you really defeat me? Light will definitely defeat darkness." Hearing this, the dark god's expression changed, and he was about to do something. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Hikari Kamui exploded out with a massive wave of light power, causing a blinding white light to shine out from his back. Before, Hikari Kamui only had a pair of white wings on his back, but now 2 more pairs appeared. Boom! The 3 pairs of white wings gave off massive power as they vigorously spread out, causing a terrifying wave of light power to explode out. The black vortex around Hikari Kamui collapsed, causing countless rays of white light to shoot out as a light aura flowed out of the darkness. The dark god's expression greatly fell, and he vigorously pushed with his hand, causing a massive wave of darkness power to flow out. The black vortex's power became much stronger, and the speed at which it was collapsing decreased. Hikari Kamui once again loudly roared, and the 3 pairs of wings once again vigorously spread out, causing a massive wave of light power to explode out, forming a white shockwave that swept out with power. The black vortex around Hikari Kamui completely collapsed, turning into countless motes of black light and dissipating. The white shock wave swept out, causing the ground to be lifted up. The trees, grass, and rocks were all shattered, and countless fragments flew out, causing a massive wind to blow in all directions. The dark god's body flew backwards, and he coughed up a large mouthful of blood. He had suffered a backlash from his power. Hikari Kamui looked at the dark god coldly, and the 3 pairs of wings on his back vigorously flapped, causing a massive wave of light power to flow out. Swish, 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 rays of white light containing light power tore through the sky and shot incredibly quickly towards the dark god. There were simply too many of them to count, and the white light illuminated the surroundings as if it could destroy anything. The dark god hurriedly stretched out a hand, and a massive wave of darkness power flowed out, forming a massive black circular shield of light that gave off a powerful darkness power. Bang! 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 Massive sounds rang out as the rays of white light containing immense power slammed against the black shield of light, causing it to shatter. The dark god was sent flying and crashed to the ground, his body covered with blood. Seeing how weak the dark god was, Hikari Kamui withdrew his power, and his body quickly shrank back to its original size as he said, "You've lost." The dark god's expression was quite unsightly, and he did not say anything else as he weakly lay on the ground. At that moment, the Pantheon imprint on the back of Hikari Kimui's hand gave off a three-colored light. He had obtained a large number of points from his battle with the dark god, raising the Pantheon imprint to a three-colored level. However, Hikari Kamui had used up a lot of his power in this battle, and he did not have much power left. Hikari Kamui ignored the dark god, and because of his identity, he would not kill him. He turned into a white ray of light and disappeared. Chapter 2138. He needed to find a place to recover his strength. Right now, the land of the gods was quite dangerous, and it was possible that someone would come looking for him soon. As such, he had to recover his strength first, or else he might lose. The mark on the back of the dark god's hand became white. Even though the dark god had lost, his body had not disappeared, meaning that he still had a chance, provided that he could quickly raise the god's mark's level. Everyone looked incredibly excited. As expected, Hikari Kamui was powerful and had defeated the challenger, the dark god. Everyone was not disappointed by this battle, as it was incredibly powerful and shocking. They had truly witnessed the power of a peerless genius. Even though it was impossible for them to have that kind of power, being able to witness it made them feel incredibly happy, and they greatly admired and liked Hikari Kamui. It was not just them. The countless ordinary people and experts facing the God Mirror all had traces of smiles on their faces. This sort of intense battle was what they wanted to see. The news quickly spread, and everyone knew about the battle. The second stage of the competition had begun, and battles have been taking place everywhere. After hearing about this, the scene became quite lively, and the battles became more and more intense. At the same time, many people felt that it was a pity that they could not personally witness such a battle. Under a large tree, Lei Tianming said to Lei Tianba, "Big bro, everyone is talking about Hikari Kamui. Everyone is talking about God's mercy. He's in the limelight now, and I heard that he's preparing to challenge you." Lei Tianba smiled confidently as he said, "I don't view him as an opponent at all. Now that the battle has been brought forward, I don't want to wait any longer. I feel that this is the right time to challenge 100 Shogun." Lei Tianming said seriously, "Big bro, I believe that you'll definitely win." Lei Tianba happily smiled. "Don't worry, I've gained quite a bit this time. Let alone 100 Shogun. I'm even confident in defeating Devourer." Lei Tianming nodded. Following this, Lei Tianba and Lei Tianming started to search for information on 100 Shogun. He was currently ranked 9th, while 100 Shogun was ranked 8th. This was the first obstacle in front of him, so he had to get rid of him as soon as possible. Halfway up the mountain, Lei Tianba blocked 100 Shogun and arrogantly laughed as he said, "I don't want to waste words. Let's begin." A trace of anger appeared by Shogun's face, and he disliked this attitude as he said coldly, "Very well. I also want to teach you a lesson and let you know that you are wrong." "You want to teach me a lesson? No way." Lei Tianba wildly laughed, and a huge amount of lightning energy surged out. Arcs of purple lightning wrapped around his body, and an astonishing aura surged out. Bai Shogun's body also erupted with a savage 100 beast power. A blood-red aura surged out of his body, giving off a powerful might. Whoosh! There was a flash of lightning in the sky. Lei Tianba's body disappeared from his original place, and he instantly appeared in front of Bai Shogun. His fist was covered with countless purple lightning bolts, and it fiercely punched toward Bai Shogun. Bai Shogun clenched his fists, which were wrapped in a bloody aura. Then, he punched out with a savage and ferocious power. Bang! When the two fists collided, a loud sound rang out and a strong gust of wind blew in all directions. The surrounding trees and grass swayed. Lei Tianming, who was standing by the side, obediently retreated to the side. He understood that this was a battle between geniuses, and it would be very difficult for him to participate. In fact, he might even be injured. Lei Tianba pulled back his fist and kicked towards Bai Shogun with shocking power. He was incredibly fast and moved like a bolt of lightning. Bai Shogun sent a powerful wave of power into his arm, causing his arm to give off countless traces of blood-red aura. He vigorously punched forwards with great force. Bang! The leg and fist collided, resulting in another explosion, and a powerful wind blew out in all directions. This time, Bai Shogun retreated a few steps, looking quite furious. Crackle! Lei Tianba laughed as his body gave off countless purple arcs of lightning, giving off shocking power as he attacked Bai Shogun. He was incredibly fast and flashed by, giving off terrifying sounds. Roar! Bai Shogun loudly roared as a massive blood-red tiger came out of his body. It gave off a massive roar and gave off ferocious power as it rushed at Lei Tianba. Bang! The blood-red tiger and the purple lightning collided, resulting in a massive explosion. A terrifying power spread out, causing the ground to collapse and a strong wind to blow out. Roar! A blood-red tiger once again came out of Bai Shogun's body and gave off a massive aura as it rushed in front of Lei Tianba, ferociously rushing at him. Lei Tianba gripped his fist and punched out with a few purple arcs of lightning, hitting the blood-red tiger's abdomen. The purple lightning pierced through the blood-red tiger's body. At that moment, Bai Shogun loudly shouted, "Explode!" Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the blood-red tiger blew itself up. The explosive power blasted open a crater that was dozens of meters wide, and the crater was filled with rubble. Lei Tianba looked quite wretched as he stood within the crater. His body gave off an intense purple light and traces of lightning. Lei Tianba looked quite furious as he looked at Bai Shogun. He stretched out a hand towards the sky, and a formless energy spread out. The sky was quickly covered by dark clouds, and a stifling feeling spread out. Rumble! A thunderclap sounded out as a massive purple lightning bolt quickly descended from the sky, ferociously striking towards Bai Shogun incredibly quickly. Bai Shogun dodged to the side, avoiding the lightning bolt. Bang! The lightning bolt struck the ground, opening up a large crater. The ground was charred black and gave off a dense burnt smell. Lei Tianba ferociously looked at Bai Shogun and controlled bucket-thick bolts of purple lightning that contained shocking power as they blasted down from the sky with unstoppable momentum, seeming as if nothing could stop them. Bai Shogun's body gave off a powerful aura as a blood-red aura flame appeared around his body. His speed quickly increased as he moved left and right, avoiding the descending lightning bolts as he rushed towards Lei Tianba. Lei Tianba looked at Bai Shogun, who was about to reach him, and a trace of ruthlessness appeared on his face. He raised his hand, and a massive wave of lightning energy rushed into the sky. Crackle! Massive sounds rang out as countless purple lightning bolts appeared in the sky. They continuously spread, split, fused, and twisted, looking like a pool of purple lightning that shined in all directions. A massive lightning might spread out and cover the surroundings, causing people's hairs to stand on end and feeling fear. Chapter 2139. At that moment, Bai Shogun rushed in front of Lei Tianba and sensed how terrifying the lightning lake in the sky was. His body gave off a large amount of blood-red aura, forming a 1,000-meter long blood-red tiger. Bai Shogun brought this blood-red tiger towards Lei Tianba. The massive blood-red tiger behind him gave off a terrifying power and gave off a ferocious aura as it charged towards Lei Tianba. Lei Tianba heavily slammed down his raised hand. Boom! Boom! Massive explosions sounded out as the lightning lake in the sky shot out tens of thousands of purple lightning bolts, giving off destructive power as they slammed towards Bai Shogun. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the tens of thousands of purple lightning bolts landed on the ground, causing blinding light to spread out. The ground instantly collapsed, and countless rocks shot out as a shocking aura spread out. Within the purple lightning, the massive blood-red tiger gave off massive power, wanting to defend against the countless bolts of lightning. However, under the countless bolts of lightning power, the blood-red tiger's body started to collapse, turning into blood-red aura and dissipating. The purple lightning devoured by Shogun's body. Standing by the side, Lei Tianming's eyes became serious as he thought to himself, "Did my big brother defeat Bai Shogun?" Lei Tianba gave a trace of a smile as he controlled the lightning lake in the sky to continuously shoot out lightning. The ground continuously collapsed, and a massive temperature caused the ground to become charred black. Boom! Suddenly, a massive explosion sounded out as a blood-red shockwave containing terrifying power instantly spread out. The countless bolts of purple lightning instantly dissipated, and the ground cracked in that instant. A powerful gale blew out, causing countless rocks to be blown into the air. Lei Tianba's expression fell as he looked ahead and saw a powerful monster standing within the crater. This monster had the horns of a cow, the head of a lion, the body of an ape, the arms of a tiger, the legs of a leopard, and the tail of a crocodile. Its body was covered with a blood-red aura flame, giving off terrifying power and causing wild gales to blow out. 100 Beast Divine Body. This was Bai Shogun's most powerful state. It could be seen that he was going all out. Swish! Bai Shogun's body instantly disappeared and reappeared in front of Lei Tianba, kicking out with terrifying power. Lei Tianba felt quite startled and hurriedly used his hands to block. Bang! Lei Tianba's body was still sent flying by the kick. His speed was extremely fast, and he continuously knocked down who knows how many trees before stopping. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Bai Shogun said coldly, "You want to defeat me with your strength? Dream on." Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as Bai Shogun gave off a massive aura and quickly rushed towards Lei Tianba. He was incredibly fast, and in an instant, Bai Shogun arrived in front of Lei Tianba and prepared to attack. Lei Tianba stood up from the ground. His injuries were not very serious, and he looked at Bai Shogun furiously as he roared, "Emperor, Thunder God!" Boom! A massive rumbling sound rang out as Lei Tianba unleashed a vast amount of lightning power. His body shone with an intense purple light, illuminating the surroundings. The ground continued to crack and collapse as purple lightning arcs appeared in the sky. His body started to turn into light, which was to become illusory, and he became a person made of purple lightning. His body was covered with countless arcs of lightning and gave off shocking lightning power, making him seem like a ruler of lightning. The Emperor Thunder God was Lei Tianba's most powerful power, and in order to defeat Bai Shogun, he used all of his power. Boom! Seeing Lei Tianba become like this, Bai Shogun did not feel any fear and gave off an even greater aura as he turned into a blood-red ray of light and rushed towards Lei Tianba. Boom! Lei Tianba's gaze was cold as he gave off terrifying lightning power and gave off a terrifying aura as he turned into a ray of purple lightning and rushed towards Bai Shogun. Bai Shogun arrived in front of Lei Tianba and raised his fist, giving off a destructive power as he punched towards Lei Tianba. Lei Tianba also punched out, giving off a powerful lightning power. Bang! A massive sound rang out as countless blinding lights spread out. In that instant, the ground once again collapsed, and everything shattered as a shocking shockwave swept out in all directions. Lei Tianba and Bai Shogun both retreated a few steps, and Lei Tianba immediately attacked. He rushed forwards and vigorously punched out, causing countless bolts of lightning to hit Bai Shogun's abdomen with immense power. Bai Shogun gave off a blood-red aura flame, greatly reducing the lightning power. He only took a few steps back before disappearing and reappearing behind Lei Tianba. He vigorously kicked out, causing the air to explode. Swish! Lei Tianba's body instantly disappeared, leaving behind a few arcs of lightning in the air. In the next moment, Lei Tianba appeared above Bai Shogun's head and grabbed out, causing countless bolts of lightning to give off ferocious auras as they shot towards Bai Shogun. Bai Shogun's body also disappeared in an instant, and the countless bolts of lightning struck the ground, causing it to shatter. Bang! Bai Shogun appeared in front of Lei Tianba and punched out with ferocious power towards Lei Tianba. Lei Tianba did not feel any fear and also vigorously swung out with the others, giving off a powerful aura. Bang! The two fists collided, resulting in another explosion. A shockwave spread out, and the two of them were sent flying back. Both of them were incredibly fast and had great power. Bang! 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 The two of them turned into two rays of light, one blood-red ray of light and one violet ray of lightning. They continuously collided in the sky, causing shocking auras to spread out, causing the weather to change. Bang! Lei Tianba vigorously punched out, sending Bai Shogun flying back and giving off a muffled sound. After flying back, Bai Shogun loudly roared and a shocking power exploded out. The blood-red aura flame around his body became 10 or so times larger and turned into an enormous mouth that gave off a terrifying aura as it bit towards Lei Tianba like a wild beast. Lei Tianba's expression slightly fell, and he had wanted to dodge, but the mouth gave off a massive suction force that sucked his body towards it. Boom! Lei Tianba's body exploded out with countless traces of violet lightning, forming an enormous violet orb of lightning. It gave off shocking lightning power as it rushed towards Bai Shogun, seeming to be able to destroy everything. Bang! A shocking explosion sounded out as the massive blood-red mouth and violet orb of lightning collided, causing a powerful gale to spread out. The massive blood-red mouth and violet orb of lightning continuously collapsed, resulting in an intense explosion. A terrifying shockwave spread out, instantly sweeping out 1,000 kilometers. The ground continuously collapsed, countless trees were uprooted, and rocks were sent flying. Chapter 2140. The people in the distance saw that the area ahead was covered by a layer of haze, giving off an incredibly terrifying aura. Only peerless geniuses had this sort of aura, and seeing another peerless genius start a battle so quickly, everyone excitedly hurried over. A battle between peerless geniuses was incredibly terrifying and was rarely seen. The intensity of the battle caused everyone to feel excited, and no one wanted to miss this battle. Outside the mystic realm, experts from all over the world, as well as countless ordinary people, were all focused on this battle. The two of them were instantly the center of attention. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded out as Lei Tianba's body flew backwards and smashed open a massive crater on the ground, causing him to cough up a large mouthful of blood. Bai Shogun's body also flew back hundreds of meters, and a trace of blood leaked out his mouth. His injuries were evidently lighter than Lei Tianba's. Everyone could tell that Bai Shogun was stronger than Lei Tianba by a bit. Bai Shogun was ranked 8th, so he was stronger than Lei Tianba, so no one was surprised. Boom! Bai Shogun once again gave off a massive amount of power, and a massive blood-red aura flame appeared around his body as he turned into a massive tiger and rushed at Lei Tianba. Lei Tianba looked furious as his body gave off an intense light. Berserk lightning continuously flowed out and struck the ground, causing it to continuously collapse. Roar! Lei Tianba brought along countless purple lightning bolts as he charged forward. The countless lightning bolts instantly formed a purple lightning dragon. It let out a heaven-shaking dragon roar as it charged forward with an aura that could sweep away everything in its path. Roar! Bai Shogun controlled the massive tiger, and it opened its mouth with terrifying power as it gave off a massive roar. The roar seemed to be corporeal, and it gave off an incredibly ferocious and invincible aura. Bang! A shocking explosion sounded out as the purple lightning dragon and blood-red tiger collided, causing a terrifying destructive power to spread out. The surrounding tens of thousands of meters was instantly destroyed, and everything was reduced to pieces. A shocking shockwave swept out, carrying with it countless dust, gravel, and wood fragments that shot out in all directions. They were like raindrops that smashed into various places, giving off loud sounds. The weather changed as the sun and moon dimmed and auras became chaotic. It was as if a catastrophe was about to arrive, and the scene was quite terrifying. This time, Bai Shogun lay within a large crater with blood leaking out of the corner of his mouth. Lei Tianba also had blood at the corner of his mouth, but his injuries were slightly lighter than Bai Shogun's. 100 Beast Gone roared towards the sky and gave off an enormous aura flame. It rushed into the sky and formed a huge pillar of aura flame. Heaven and earth power surged into it like a tide. Lying on the ground, Bai Shogun's injuries were rapidly recovering. His strength had also become even more terrifying. His monstrous body had grown 2 meters in size. His body was full of explosive muscles. Even the void could not withstand his strength and was constantly distorting. Lei Tianba's eyes were solemn. His body, made of purple lightning, started to collapse. Huge purple lightning bolts shot out from his body, twisting around him like snakes. In the end, Lei Tianba's body completely collapsed, leaving behind massive bolts of purple lightning that continuously moved about. Heaven and earth power continuously flowed into them, causing the purple lightning to give off a brilliant light, as if it was releasing world-destroying lightning. The purple lightning was the first to attack. Massive bolts of purple lightning containing destructive power blasted towards 100 Shogun on the ground, and they were incredibly fast. Bai Shogun stood up from the ground with a ferocious look on his face. He faced the first purple lightning bolt and punched out with a terrifying force. Bang! The massive purple lightning bolt was shattered by the punch, turning into countless tiny purple arcs of lightning and dissipating, and a strong wind blew out. Boom! A bolt of purple lightning with astonishing power blasted towards Bai Shogun from the side. Bai Shogun turned around and kicked out with his leg. The powerful force once again shattered the bolt of purple lightning, causing it to turn into countless tiny arcs of electricity before disappearing. Bang! Bang! Massive bolts of purple lightning containing destructive power continuously attacked 100 Shogun, while 100 Shogun continuously kicked out with his fists and feet, continuously shattering the bolts of lightning. Lei Tianba's body had already turned into countless bolts of lightning. Seeing that he could not harm 100 Shogun, the purple lightning shot into the sky. Countless dark clouds started to condense together, covering the entire sky. A massive wave of lightning power spread out, enveloping the heavens and earth. Traces of lightning continuously flashed within the dark clouds, causing the sky to become incredibly dangerous. It was as if it contained boundless killing intent. Boom! A purple lightning bolt that was a few meters thick, bringing with it terrifying power and an incredibly powerful aura, descended from the sky. It flashed past and blasted towards 100 Shogun with unstoppable force. Bang! 100 Shogun vigorously punched out, and a terrifying force shattered the lightning bolt. However, 100 Shogun was forced back 2 steps, and there were many arcs of lightning around his fist, causing his arm to feel somewhat numb. This lightning was no longer ordinary lightning. It was heaven and earth lightning that Lei Tianba had used heaven and earth power to form. This lightning bolt represented the heavens and earth punishing a sinner. Boom! Another massive bolt of purple lightning containing terrifying power quickly descended from the sky. This time, 100 Shogun did not choose to take it head-on, and he instead dodged to the side. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the massive lightning bolt blasted open a 10 or so meter wide crater in the ground. The crater was scorched black and gave off a very high temperature. 100 Shogun ferociously glared at the thick dark clouds in the sky and loudly roared. Massive waves of blood-red aura continuously flooded out, and a ferocious and barbaric power spread out. The ground continuously cracked, as if it was unable to withstand this power, and the air seemed to condense. The blood-red aura continuously condensed and formed various animals. There were cows, horses, pigs, tigers, lions, and other different creatures. There were hundreds of them, and all of them were hundreds of meters long. All of them gave off terrifying power. The black clouds in the sky continuously gathered, becoming thicker and lower, as if the sky was going to collapse. Violet arcs of lightning continuously flashed, and a world-destroying lightning aura spread out, causing the world to become icy cold. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as 100 Shogun led the 100 massive beasts and gave off ferocious power. They gave off an aura that seemed to be able to destroy everything as they rushed into the sky, seeming to be able to destroy the sky. Boom! 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 Tens of thousands of bolts of purple lightning descended from the dark sky, bringing with them world-destroying power. They blasted towards the ground as if they wanted to destroy the world, and the purple lightning lit up the sky as thunder boomed in all directions. Bang! A shocking explosion sounded out as the two extreme powers collided, resulting in a terrifying shockwave that seemed to be able to destroy the heavens and the earth rippling out. The ground was lifted up, trees were uprooted, boulders were blown into the sky, and mountains collapsed. The secret realm started to tremble, and at that moment, everyone looked in that direction. A look of shock appeared on their faces. Please remember this book's domain name. Mobile version. Chapter 2141. After everything calmed down, a crater that was tens of thousands of meters wide had appeared on the ground. The crater was filled with arcs of lightning and a blood-red aura. It gave off a terrifying power, making people not dare to approach it. The ground around the crater was lifted up. Countless trees were destroyed and rocks were shattered. It was a complete mess, as if a disaster had just happened. Lei Tianming stood in the air and looked at the scene in front of him in shock. This was a battle between absolute geniuses. He understood that he did not have this kind of power. Compared to his brother, he was indeed much weaker. Back then, that person had said that he was not a match for him at all, and that only his brother had the ability to fight against him. He was right. Many people standing in the periphery looked at the terrifying scene in front of them and also revealed expressions of shock. This was simply apocalyptic, and they were excited. To be able to see such a battle, it was worth it to waste some time searching for treasures. Who do you think won? That last move was simply too terrifying. I don't know who won at all. I feel that it should be by Shogun. He is ranked 8th, so he is definitely a bit stronger than Lei Tianba, who is ranked 9th. That's right. Just now, when I saw Bai Shogun leading his beast into the sky, it was really terrifying. It felt like the sky was going to break. Bai Shogun should be able to win. I don't think so. Lei Tianba turned into heavenly lightning and borrowed the power of the world. It was also extremely terrifying. The last move he used seemed to destroy everything. I feel that Lei Tianba might win. I think so too. Lei Tianba directly turned into heavenly lightning and punished the sinner on behalf of the world. Not only is the lightning terrifying, but is also supported by the endless power of the world. Who can resist it? It doesn't matter to me who wins or loses. To be able to see such a terrifying battle is already worth it. It is too exciting and happy. In any case, I am going to be eliminated. It was not just them. Countless people outside the secret realm stared at the crater, wanting to know who had won. Suddenly, a few sounds rang out as a few purple lightning arcs pierced through the rubble. Lei Tianba stood up with a few wounds on his body. Although Bai Shogun was nowhere to be seen, Lei Tianba's mark of gods had turned into 5 colors. This meant that Lei Tianba had won. Lei Tianba, Lei Tianba, Lei Tianba, Lei Tianba. Seeing that Lei Tianba had won, countless people excitedly shouted. They did not like Lei Tianba, but they worshipped experts in victories. This battle was not fake at all. It was incomparably intense and exciting. Everyone was extremely happy, which was why they were so enthusiastic. If it was a battle between ordinary people, they would not even bother to watch. Lei Tianming smiled and quickly flew in front of Lei Tianba as he said happily, "Big bro, you win." Lei Tianba revealed a trace of a smile as he replied. Even though he had won this battle, it had been extremely difficult. He had underestimated by Shogun's power. If he had not borrowed heaven and earth power in that last attack, it was very likely that he would have lost. Right now, he had used up a lot of his power, and he needed to recover as quickly as possible. Lei Tianba brought Lei Tianming with him and quickly left the place. Now that Lei Tianba had defeated by Shogun, the ranking changed. Lei Tianba was only ranked 8th, while Bai Shogun was ranked 9th. Soon after, the crowd found Bai Shogun, who had fainted in the rubble. The other geniuses looked away, and their expressions became even more serious. It was only the second stage of the competition, and there had already been 2 battles with peerless geniuses. The situation had become even more difficult. It was possible that there would be many peerless geniuses fighting, and no one could avoid them. They had to participate in the battles, and now they had to make preparations to prevent anything unexpected from happening. They also had to quickly increase their power. They were not completely confident that they could obtain the Master of God's title. In fact, even their position as peerless geniuses was greatly threatened. The battles became even more intense, and they were all affected by the 2 terrifying battles. Explosions sounded out everywhere as terrifying auras continuously spread out. Zhao Fu looked away. He had felt quite shocked after sensing those terrifying ripples, and he understood that there were peerless geniuses fighting. Even though he had not personally witnessed the battle, the ripples were incredibly terrifying. In the Outlander world, Zhao Fu had fought with these peerless geniuses before, and he understood how terrifying they were. However, Zhao Fu did not plan on fighting with them because he could obtain legacy power to obtain points without fighting with them. Moreover, Zhao Fu's goal was not to fight with them, but to obtain the Master of God's title. At that moment, Zhao Fu found another legatee from a god's land. There was a gray-white orb of light floating in the air, giving off intense light and a ferocious aura. It gave off beast cries and gave off terrifying sounds. Logically speaking, with such a powerful aura, there should be many people here, but there was not a single person here. Zhao Fu felt quite confused. However, after looking around, Zhao Fu did not find any danger, so he gave off a powerful aura and rushed forwards, while Hualing followed behind Zhao Fu. Now, she knew Zhao Fu's goal, to fuse 24 gods' powers. Over the years, she had never heard of anyone being able to do this, and only the person in front of her could do it. Now, she could not help but feel admiration and respect toward Zhao Fu. Boom! An explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu approached. The pale white orb of light gave off a ferocious aura, and rays of pale white light containing terrifying power shot toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu immediately unleashed a defensive barrier, blocking the pale white beams of light that shot over. The rays of light were quite powerful, and when they hit the defensive barrier, they caused it to tremble. However, it still blocked the attack. Following this, Zhao Fu brought Hualing and flew into the pale white orb of light. Zhao Fu looked at the 1,000-meter tall statue in front of him. It looked like an elderly man with a very long beard. He wore a long robe and held a wooden staff, and there was a statue of a tiger next to him, giving off a shocking aura. This statue was most likely the statue of a beast core god. Zhao Fu felt that someone had been here before. Perhaps 100 Beast Gone had obtained legacy power, and his 100 Beast power was a type of beast power. Zhao Fu did not say anything and gave off a powerful aura as he rushed over. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the statue gave off a gray-white light, and a ferocious beast power spread out. The gray-white light condensed into wild beasts, including tigers, leopards, lions, cows, and so on. Roar! 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 The wild beasts gave off massive roars and gave off great power as they charged at Zhao Fu. They were like a beast tide that swept through everything, giving off terrifying auras. Chapter 2142. Facing the incoming beast tide, Zhao Fu's expression did not change. He took out the sky demon sword and raised it, pointing at the sky as a massive wave of demonic qi flowed out from his body. Ever since Zhao Fu had obtained the demon race's Emperor's Star, the demonic qi around Zhao Fu's body had become demonic qi from a demon lord, greatly suppressing all demonic qi in the demon race. Sensing this massive wave of demonic qi, Hualing looked quite confused. How could Zhao Fu's body have such terrifying demonic qi? Boom! Before Hualing could react, Zhao Fu gave off a large amount of demonic qi, which turned into a pillar of demonic qi that shot into the sky with immense power. A massive explosion sounded out as a massive demonic wind blew out. The sun in the sky seemed to have been tainted by demonic qi, turning into a black demonic sun and giving off a massive demonic might that covered the heavens and earth. Xing! Zhao Fu slashed out with his sword, causing a massive sword hum to ring out. A massive black sword light containing enough power to slash through the heavens and earth slashed forwards with unstoppable might. Boom! The ferocious beast tide was slashed apart, and a massive black sword energy devoured countless beasts. Countless beast bodies directly collapsed and turned into nothingness, and the ferocious beast tide completely disappeared without a single one remaining. Zhao Fu gave off a powerful aura as he held the sky demon sword and rushed forwards. The beast god stone statue did not give off any massive might, as if it had acknowledged Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu directly flew in front of the beast god stone statue and felt quite confused. Even though he had a lot of power within his body, he did not have beast power. Logically speaking, the beast godstone statue should not have liked him, so why had he been acknowledged so easily? The stone statue's forehead gave off a pale white light, and a wave of beast power spread out as wild beast roars sounded out, giving off terrifying sounds. Boom! A massive rumbling sound rang out as a pale white beam of light shot out with a tremendous aura, landing on Zhao Fu's body. The massive power of the Beast Master God was continuously channeled into Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu closed his eyes and absorbed this massive amount of power. This wild beast power was a very savage and ferocious power, and it filled his body, making him feel as if he had gone berserk and become a wild beast. At the same time, his strength greatly increased. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the stone statue's forehead gave off an even more intense light. A pale white ray of light containing a massive aura shot towards Zhao Fu's body, and even more power entered Zhao Fu's body. After Zhao Fu absorbed this massive amount of power, he felt that his body had changed. Now, Zhao Fu seemed to be able to turn into all sorts of animals, such as lions, tigers, elephants, water buffaloes, and wild boars. However, some things that were too small could not be changed, such as mosquitoes, butterflies, worms, lizards, and frogs. Zhao Fu felt that this ability to turn into all sorts of animals was quite special, and it felt quite good. Perhaps it would be useful in the future, and Zhao Fu happily smiled as he continued to absorb this massive amount of power. Boom! An explosion once again sounded out as the stone statue's forehead gave off an intense light. In the end, a pale white ray of light containing a powerful aura landed on Zhao Fu's body, and a massive beast legacy power continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body. The stone statue's aura started to dissipate, and it became hazy before disappearing. Boom! A massive explosion suddenly sounded out as the pale white orb of light gave off an intense pale white light and a ferocious beast power. It gave off a shocking aura as it turned into a ray of light and shot into the sky. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the ray of light exploded in the sky, sending out a ferocious shockwave that contained terrifying power. Wild beast roars sounded out in the sky, sounding out in all directions. In the sky, there was a massive magic formation with 24 circles, and one of them gave off a pale white light, as if the circle was filled with a pale white light. Sensing this ripple, everyone was not too surprised. After experiencing it so many times, they were already used to it. Beast Jean, the young lord of the 10,000 god beast faction, sensed this ripple and felt quite surprised, and he stopped walking. He understood that the beast god's power had just been obtained by someone, and he was quite curious who had obtained the remaining 3 legacies. Beast Jean felt that it was quite a pity that he had only obtained 7 legacies and not all of them. After Zhao Fu finished absorbing the beast's power, a trace of a smile appeared on his face, and his body started to turn into all sorts of animals. A ferocious tiger, a massive bear, a mighty-looking lion, and a powerful bull. It was Zhao Fu's first time turning into all sorts of beasts, and it was quite special. After changing a few times, Zhao Fu returned to his original appearance and brought Hua Ling to search for the beast god's legacy land. It was most likely because he had the remnant soul of the oceanic god, but Zhao Fu could faintly sense the legacy lands. As such, Zhao Fu quickly found another entrance to the legacy land. This entrance was a square orb of light, and different scenes appeared on its 4 sides. One side was a dense forest, one side was a tall and majestic mountain, one side was a damp swamp, and one side was a desolate desert. The aura that the orb of light gave off was that of a world's aura, and it was incredibly powerful. It was even more powerful than ordinary orbs of light. This was most likely a world god's legacy land. Zhao Fu flew forwards. Boom! The square orb of light gave off a white light and exploded out with a powerful aura. A massive wave of world's power spread out, forming a massive defensive barrier that covered the square orb of light. Zhao Fu felt quite startled. It was the first time he had seen such a defensive entrance to the legacy land. The defensive barrier gave off a tough power, and ordinary people naturally would not be able to break through it. However, Zhao Fu was no ordinary person. He took out the Sky Demon Sword and sent a terrifying wave of demonic energy into it, causing the Sky Demon Sword to give off an intense sword light as a shocking sword chi spread out. Boom! Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out, and a massive black sword light containing terrifying power slashed out, slashing against the defensive barrier. The defensive barrier started to crack, and a shard shot out. After easily dealing with the defensive barrier, Zhao Fu and Hua Ling flew in and entered the legacy land. After entering the legacy land, the world god's legacy land seemed quite ordinary, and there was not much of a difference between it and a normal scenery. There was a stone stage in an empty area, and there was a statue of a handsome young man on it. He was 1,000 meters tall and wore ancient clothes. His long hair fell to his shoulders, and he gave off a massive godly spirit's aura. Zhao Fu flew forwards, and the statue exploded out with great power. Chapter 2143. The stone statue gave off an intense white light, and 3-meter-tall soldiers dressed in white armor appeared. They held large swords and had cold expressions. There were tens of thousands of them, and they filled the sky, giving off terrifying auras. Zhao Fu looked at the divine weapons and did not become careless. After all, the god lords of this world were stronger than the other god lords. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as an enormous 7-colored aura flame burst forth from Zhao Fu's body. A powerful aura spread out like a wild gale as Zhao Fu activated celestial mode. Kill! The tens of thousands of soldiers roared and charged at Zhao Fu, giving off killing auras as if they were soldiers charging on a battlefield. Zhao Fu's expression did not change, and he took out a green sword. It was the royal wood sword. Shing! A sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu sent a wave of celestial power into the royal wood sword, causing it to give off a 7-colored light. A massive sword energy spread out, covering the heavens and earth and forming a formless might. The countless soldiers flooded over, and Zhao Fu vigorously swung the royal wood sword, causing it to spin out with shocking power. Bang! 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 The royal wood sword gave off immense power as it spun and shot into the group of soldiers, chopping them in half. Their corpses flew everywhere before turning into motes of light and dissipating. The royal wood sword continued to slash forwards, killing many divine weapons. However, the royal wood sword spun out and only killed over 1,000 divine weapons. There were still tens of thousands of divine weapons rushing toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu gave a trace of a smile as he stretched out a hand and vigorously grabbed at the air. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the royal wood sword gave off an intense light, and a massive wave of energy spread out. Sharp branches giving off sharp auras shot out incredibly quickly, and in the blink of an eye, the royal wood sword gave off an intense aura. Chi, chi, chi. Countless divine weapons were pierced by the countless tree branches, and they died incredibly horrifying deaths. Not a single person was able to escape, and they were all pierced by the tree branches. A large tree with countless corpses was formed, creating a terrifying scene. Countless corpses turned into white spots of light and dissipated. Zhao Fu reached out his hand and made a grabbing motion. The tree disappeared and turned into a sword that returned to Zhao Fu's hand. The royal wood sword was made from the world tree, and other than having a powerful life force, the world tree also had a bit of world energy, which was exceptionally destructive towards those divine weapons. Zhao Fu wielded the royal wood sword and flew to the front of the stone statue. Again, he did not feel any pressure. The stone statue's forehead shone with an intense white light, and a vast amount of world divine power surged out, forming a powerful aura that spread out. Boom! A white ray of light containing a powerful aura shot out and landed on Zhao Fu's body. Massive amounts of world energy continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body, and Zhao Fu closed his eyes and focused on absorbing this energy. This world Lord God's power was very powerful. It was even more powerful than ordinary divine power. Moreover, it was very beneficial to one's constitution. It could allow one's body to possess world power, which would greatly increase one's cultivation speed. After a while, the aura emitted by the stone statue slowly dissipated, and the stone statue also disappeared. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the square-shaped orb of light gave off an intense white light and a shocking wave of world energy. The orb of light turned into a ray of light and shot into the sky. Bang! A massive explosion sounded out as the white ray of light exploded in the sky. A powerful shockwave blasted out with unstoppable force, and a massive wave of world energy flowed out. In the sky, there were 24 magic circles, and one of them gave off a white light. It was as if the circle was filled with white light. Tian Yu, who was on a hill, sensed this aura, and his expression became quite unsightly. He now understood who the stone statue had left behind a trace of legacy power for. It was for this person. This person had obtained so much God's power in a row, which was already quite shocking and gave everyone a formless pressure. However, the stone statue had left behind a trace of legacy power for him. What sort of treatment was this? He did not even have a God Race Emperor star. So who did that person have to receive such treatment? Even the God stone statues were on his side, which made him feel quite angry. However, Tian Yu could sense that that person was extremely terrifying. The God stone statues were the most terrifying existences in the secret realm, and for them to act like this, he definitely was not simple at all. It was possible that that person was his greatest competitor for the position of World Lord, and no one could compare to him. Now, that person gave Tian Yu such great pressure. After absorbing the World Lord God's power, Zhao Fu felt a bit disappointed because there was only one trace of such powerful World Lord God's power. Following this, Zhao Fu continued to search, and he found another entrance to a legacy land. The entrance was within a valley, and it looked like a crack in space. It gave off a destructive power, and everything in the surroundings collapsed. The scene was quite terrifying. From this aura, it seemed that this was the destruction God's legacy land, and Zhao Fu gave off a powerful aura as he flew over. The crack gave off a massive wave of power that sucked Zhao Fu in, but in the next moment, a massive wave of destructive power covered Zhao Fu, wanting to crush and destroy him. Zhao Fu directly unleashed a defensive barrier, blocking this wave of destructive power before flying forwards and entering another region. This region was completely empty. There was no sky or ground, and there was only a statue ahead that gave off destructive power. In front of him was the destruction godstone statue, and Zhao Fu gave off a powerful aura as he rushed over. He unleashed a few attacks and easily passed the destruction god's test. This test was even weaker than the test from before. Logically speaking, given how powerful the destruction god was, its test should be a bit stronger as well, and it should be the same as the world lord's. However, it seemed as if the stone statue was quite satisfied with Zhao Fu. The moment it saw Zhao Fu, it gave a trace of a smile and did not give off any might. When Zhao Fu came in front of it, a black ray of light shot out from its forehead, bringing with it massive destructive power as it entered Zhao Fu's body. Even though Zhao Fu was quite surprised, he continued to absorb this wave of destruction god's power. Bang! A black orb of light shot into the sky with a massive aura and gave off a massive explosion, causing a wave of destructive power to spread out. In the sky, there was a massive magic formation with 24 circles, and one of them gave off a black light, making it seem as if the circle was filled with black light. Miette Glaze, who was in the sky, had an ugly expression on her face. She understood who the Lord God statue was leaving behind this legacy for. Chapter 2144. Mielu felt about the same as Tianyu. That person was incredibly terrifying and gave her a lot of pressure. She also felt that he was her greatest opponent, and if she did not defeat him, she would not be able to obtain the God Ruler's inheritance. Moreover, the God statue was on his side, and this dealt a big blow to Mielu. She was the #1 expert in the godly domain and had the God race's supreme emperor star, but she had not received such treatment. At first, everyone did not pay too much attention to the first explosion because they expected that someone would soon obtain a God Ruler's legacy. However, 3 explosions sounded out in such a short period of time, and no one could accept this. That bastard! He obtained 3 God Ruler's legacies so quickly. He's only 3 more legacies away from the 3rd stage of the competition, and the 2nd stage hasn't even ended yet. How infuriating! In the 2nd stage, everyone is doing their best to obtain points to stay in the secret realm. However, the 2nd stage hasn't ended, and the 3rd stage is about to begin. Who can obtain so many points so quickly? AI. These peerless geniuses only care about obtaining benefits for themselves. Why would they care about ordinary people like us? No matter how hard we work, we can't compare to them. It's best to just accept our fate. You're wrong. Not only have we been greatly affected, but those geniuses don't have many points either. They don't want to start the next stage so early either. It's all because of that person. That's right. It's all because of that person. Don't you feel that all the beams of light that shoot into the sky give off the same aura? This time, she's truly angered everyone. It's not just us. I'm sure even those geniuses want to find that person. That person caused the competition to start so early, and even I want to teach him a lesson. Of course, I don't have the strength to do so, so please beat that bastard up together. He's simply too infuriating. At that moment, Zhao Fu smiled as he continued to search for the God Ruler's legacy ground with Hualing. Now that he had fused with the destruction god's legacy power, Zhao Fu felt that his 10,000 god power was terrifyingly powerful. If he fused all 24 types of god power together, it would definitely be a supreme level power that would not be any weaker than the 6 paths of reincarnation power. A pained cry sounded out as an ugly-looking young man with disheveled hair opened his massive mouth and devoured a beautiful woman. This young man was Devourer, ranked 7th in the top 10 geniuses, and he had a powerful devouring power. There was also a beautiful woman next to him. Seeing this scene, she knelt on the ground in terror and begged for mercy. She knew that facing such a terrifying genius, it was impossible for her to escape. A cruel smile appeared on the corpse devourer's face as he walked towards the beautiful woman. The woman was so scared that she lowered her head and knelt on the ground. Her body continuously trembled from fear, and she did not dare to move. However, the corpse devourer went up and stepped on the woman's head, causing it to smash into the ground. It then bent down and grabbed the woman's hand. It vigorously pulled, tearing off the woman's arm. Blood sprayed everywhere as the woman cried out in pain. The corpse devourer had a cruel smile on its face as it opened its massive mouth and ate the arm in one bite before grabbing the woman's arm. The woman begged in pain, but the corpse devourer did not have any intentions of letting her off. It forcefully pulled, causing blood to spurt out. The woman cried out in pain as she struggled on the ground, but she could not break free at all. Just as the corpse devourer was about to eat the woman's arm, a young man with a saber on his back appeared. It was the owner of the heaven and earth divine saber. Seeing this, the young man slightly frowned. The corpse devourer, who was about to eat the arm, stopped, and its expression became serious because it could feel how terrifying the young man was. The young man looked at the corpse devourer. "You're a bit disgusting. Leave before I get angry." Even though the corpse devourer understood how terrifying the young man was, it was still one of the top geniuses and was ranked 7th. How could it fear this person so easily? It coldly laughed and threw the arm away before stomping on the woman's head, causing it to explode. "What if I don't leave?" The young man's eyes became cold, and his body instantly disappeared. In that instant, he appeared in front of the corpse devourer and punched towards it, bringing with it a powerful palm wind. The corpse devourer was shocked and hurriedly released a wave of power, forming a gray-white energy barrier that gave off an evil aura. Bang! The palm slammed into the barrier, causing it to shatter. The palm hit the corpse devourer's chest, sending it flying 10 or so meters away. However, it was not injured. "You deserve to die." The corpse devourer furiously crawled up from the ground and glared at the young man as it loudly shouted. Boom! An explosion sounded out as a terrifying gray-white aura flowed out from the corpse devourer's body, turning into powerful ravenous ghosts. There were dozens of them, and all of them gave off terrifying power. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws as they flew towards the young man, giving off a terrifying aura. The young man's expression was serious as he stretched out a hand, and a powerful wave of power exploded out. His body gave off a platinum-colored light, and platinum-colored saber images formed in the air around him, giving off a massive saber aura. Arg! The ravenous ghost's green eyes greedily looked at the young man as they roared, wanting to devour the young man. They were incredibly fast and had already arrived in front of the young man. Chi! 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 The young man vigorously pushed out with his hand, and saber images containing immense power slashed out, piercing through the ravenous ghosts. The ravenous ghosts turned into countless traces of gray-white aura and dissipated. The platinum-colored saber lights continued to give off immense power as they shot towards the corpse devourer. The corpse devourer did not move, and a powerful wave of power gathered in its hands. Its hands turned into a pair of sharp claws that gave off a chilling cold light. Bang! 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 The corpse devourer vigorously swung its claws a few times, sending out arcs of light that shattered the saber lights, which turned into countless motes of platinum light and dissipated. Bang! The corpse devourer vigorously stomped on the ground and shot out like an arrow. It flashed through the air and arrived in front of the young man. Its sharp claws gave off immense power as it clawed towards the corpse devourer, wanting to tear the young man apart. The young man's expression did not change. His palm gave off a platinum-colored light as he sent a ferocious palm strike towards the corpse devourer. Bang! The two waves of power collided, resulting in a massive explosion. A powerful gale blew out, causing the plants and the surroundings to sway. A trace of viciousness appeared in the corpse devourer's eyes. Seeing that it was unable to harm the young man, its body instantly disappeared. In the next moment, it appeared behind the young man, and its claws ferociously clawed towards the young man. The young man dodged to the side, easily dodging this claw attack. The corpse devourer looked furious and vigorously swung its claws, sending out 5 sharp arcs of light towards the young man. Chapter 21:45. The young man stretched out a hand, which gave off a platinum light. A platinum light barrier appeared, blocking the incoming arc of light. Arc! The devourer roared and gave off a powerful aura as it leapt towards the young man like a monstrous beast. The young man stood where he was and pushed with his hand. A powerful wave of power flowed out, and the platinum light barrier smashed towards the devourer, sending him flying 10 or so meters. Outside the secret realm, everyone's gazes were focused on these 2 people. One was the 7th-rank genius, and the other was the person with the heaven and earth divine blade. It seemed that the young man was stronger than the devourer, and with the heaven and earth divine blade, he was far more terrifying than the devourer. Even higher beings would fear him because he was simply too terrifying. Boom! The devourer roared, and a massive gray-white aura flooded out like a flood. The gray-white aura continuously condensed and formed a ravenous ghost's head. This ravenous ghost's head was dozens of meters wide and had a massive mouth filled with fangs. This mouth seemed to take up his entire face and gave off a terrifying evil aura, causing the surrounding temperature to plummet. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the ravenous ghost's head opened its massive mouth and sucked, causing a massive devouring power to explode out. The ground was lifted up layer by layer, trees were uprooted, and rocks flew into the air. They were all sucked into the large mouth endlessly, as if the ravenous ghost was devouring the heavens and earth. The young man gave off a platinum energy barrier, but he was still being pulled forward by that suction force. This suction force was incredibly powerful. The devourer had a savage look on his face as he controlled the massive ravenous ghost's head and sucked, causing an even greater suction force to spread out. The young man's body was pulled even faster towards the ravenous ghost. At that moment, the young man looked at the devourer and said seriously, "I've underestimated you. However, as one of the godly world's top 10 geniuses, you have the right to make me draw my blade." Hearing this, a look of anger appeared on the devourer's face. He was one of the top 10 geniuses, yet he dared to be so arrogant and say that he had the right to make him draw his blade. The devourer's eyes flashed with killing intent. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the ravenous ghost's head opened its mouth as wide as it could, seeming to be even bigger than its face. It furiously sucked, and an incredibly terrifying suction force spread out. The ground was quickly lifted up layer by layer. Rocks were sent flying into the air. Countless trees were uprooted and poured into the mouth. It was as if it could devour everything and could never be satiated. The young man was pulled forward step by the suction force. The explosive power of each ravenous ghost's head was quite terrifying. However, the young man stood on the earthen pillar in the middle and used his saber to block in front of him. The saber gave off a platinum-colored barrier of light, blocking all of the explosive power, and the young man was not injured at all. Swish! A cold light flashed in the young man's eyes as his body turned into a ray of light and shot towards the devourer. He arrived in front of the devourer incredibly quickly and raised the platinum-colored saber in his hand. A powerful wave of power flowed into the platinum-colored saber, causing it to give off traces of saber chi. A terrifying saber energy burst out, causing the space around it to seem as if it was being torn apart, causing cracks to appear. Boom! The young man vigorously slashed down with his saber, and a massive saber light containing destructive power slashed out. It was unstoppable as it slashed towards the devourer. The platinum-colored light covered the surroundings, causing everything to collapse. The devourer's expression fell, and it hurriedly chose to defend. Countless gray-white aura flowed out from its body, forming a massive shield. Bang! A massive sound rang out as the gigantic shield was split apart. The devourer's body was sent flying by the saber strike, and the ground continuously collapsed, giving off massive sounds. After everything settled, a 10,000-meter long and hundreds of meter deep saber gash appeared on the ground, giving off traces of shocking aura. Everyone looked at the scene in shock. That young man's power was simply too terrifying, and it was not something that ordinary people could defend against. As expected from someone who had the heaven and earth divine saber, it caused everyone to feel immense terror. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.